do.
Rob Van Dam! Rob Van Dam! Rob Van Dam!
I'm Rob Van Dam. The whole show.
I hope. Okay, we're good. Hey, what's up? It's Thursday night. It is one of a kind. It's with who? Boom. It's with RVD. Rob. Trash night, baby. How's it going? Did you
Devon?
Devon. Hey, Devon.
Get the trash.
Get the trash. Hey.
Cool. What up,
Good to see you, Rob. How's it going?
What up, dude? Where'd I just go? Oh, it was in Michigan, Monroe, Michigan, for the Insane WrestleFest. I got to tell you, man, it's common, the norm for the fans when they come up and meet me and tell me how cool I am and how happy they are to be with me and how thankful they are for everything I've done. They almost always throw in, I love listening to your podcast.
Dude, that's awesome. That's so great to hear. It's cool. It's cool. It's reaching out and we're getting a hold of people and getting in touch. We're live right now, too. We got a lot of people in the chat already. Jem the Dawn. Brian is in the house. Michael, FJT. So shout out to all you guys. Triple E is in the house, too. But, hey, we have somebody else in the house with us today, Rob. Really excited about this one. Why don't you do it?
Sometimes I feel like having a guest. Sometimes I feel like running my mouth a little bit more. This time I'm going to let my good friend Kid Kash do some of the talking.
Boom. Let's get him on here. Kid Kash.
KID.
Hey. What's up?
What's up, man?
What's happening?
Good to see you, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So, Kid Kash, I've known you for, I think, 97 or something like that. But you're one of those people that I don't remember actually meeting. Do you remember when we met?
Yeah, actually, I do. It was Winston-Salem, North Carolina, at the Greg Price show.
Oh,
yeah. I rolled in and I was in the parking lot and I started smoking a bowl. And I didn't know you guys were like the other car beside me, and y'all were laughing because I was kind of like,
I think it's being slick over here.
Well, I was like hitting it, and I was like looking around, doing this shit. And I'm like looking around, blowing it and stuff, and I just caught you guys out the corner of my eye, looked over, and you guys were like, laughing at me and shit. So that's kind of how we met.
Cool. Yeah, man. And that's how it used to be, was like, and it still is for a lot of people, but for me, it hasn't been in decades. But certain cultures where they still like, they don't want to get caught. They're ashamed. Like if they're smoking, they're hiding. They feel like they're doing something they're not supposed to. And man, I really didn't feel that as much even when I should have. You know, if we were in a car in Illinois, it was in North Carolina. If we're in a car, it might have been because it was cold. I don't know. But, you know, I've always been one to stand out and smoke, and everyone else would be like ducking and hiding. And it's like, I always thought like, man, what a ridiculous world. Like people are smoking cigarettes, killing themselves and people around them to cover the smell of us smoking this natural, non-toxic grass. I always thought it was crazy.
The government always had everybody thinking it was the wackiest weed, and it was, you know, marijuana crazy and all this other shit. But I was always worried about getting arrested. So, because actually I have before. I mean, I've gotten pulled. I pulled out of a bank one night, and I didn't have my lights on as I was leaving. As I was leaving the parking lot, I turned my lights on when I hit the road, but the cop went by, did a U-turn. It was like, oh, your lights weren't on when you left the parking lot. And I'm like, well, they were on when I hit the road, you know. Well, I had a one hitter, the one hitters. I had one of them in my ashtray. And so, of course, he got that, took me to jail, had to get bonded out. Then it was like 11 months, 29 days probation. And I didn't even have, I didn't even have a half of a quarter in that damn thing. It was only like probably 5 or 6 one hitters left. That's all it was.
Didn't matter. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got all locked. I did. They didn't lock me up. I went in and they let me out. I didn't get. Yeah, I bonded out on what they call an OR, I think, and I just walked on out. But then I had to go to court. Then it was like a fine, and then I literally had to do 11 months, 29 days probation. And then I had to get drug tested. Like I had to take like 2 piss tests inside that time too.
You were part of the system, part of the process. Yeah, that's
the second time I failed the drug test because they found out I was pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
That's a red flag.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
So that one actually gave me another 6 months on
it. Yeah.
So Kash, how did you get? Were you a fan growing up, wrestling, all that kind of thing? Was that something that was really you were into as a kid? And who were some of your favorites? So, yeah, Smoke.
I grew up in Central Virginia, and we grew up on NWA.
Yeah.
So I was that was like the only. I mean, every now and then we would get like Georgia Championship Wrestling, and once or twice a year. On a scramble screen, you could get like Continental Wrestling or something like we're talking like 70s and 80s, But yeah, I grew up mostly on NWA with like the original Ric Flair, and Wahoo McDaniels, who wound up being my first match was Wahoo McDaniels.
No shit, really?
I beat the fuck out of me, yeah. Yeah, I beat the shit out of because I didn't know Carney at the time. I was only taught to wrestle. That was it. Nobody taught me anything about Carney at that time, So he was talking this foreign language to me, and nobody told me about it. And I was like, "What? What?" And then he got so mad at me. He put me up in a turnbuckle. And he just told me real quick, and he was like, "You better blow all your air out." And I was like, "What?" He did the overhand chop.
Yeah.
So when he would come down, man, he come down, and there was no slap to it. It was like just a thud, You felt like your rib cage kissing your heart. That's how bad it was. But he knocked the breath out of me, and I was on my hands and knees. I was going trying to catch my breath. And what was so funny? What's so funny now about it? Because he used to wear white moccasins, with the tassels hanging off of them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to catch my breath, and the only thing I could see at the time was these little tassels from his moccasins walking around me in a circle. And then he kicked the shit out of me right in my liver.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he kicked me so hard that I was on my hands and knees trying to catch my breath that it brought me off the ground, and I literally landed on my back. And he put his foot on my chest and pinned me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
were these Greg Price shows?
No. This was this is I don't even know the name of the organization. This was like my first indie show ever.
Damn.
So yeah, but nobody taught me anything like that. Carney, I didn't know anything about that, but I learned real quick after that. Yeah.
How old were you at the time there, Kash?
Oh, gosh, probably 21, 22.
My gosh.
Yeah.
What a baptism by fire match, too. Wahoo fucking McDaniel. Jeez.
Yeah, I did. I started here in Waynesboro. I moved back to Waynesboro just back this past September, my hometown. And but anyway, I started here. I was in the gym one day, and the local guy here running shows had the Rock and Roll Express, the Road Warriors, Tim Horner. Just a bunch of the old NWA guys, that was on the shows. Got Terry Funk. But I was in the gym working out, and both Ricky and Robert came up to me, and he was like, "Hey, man, you look like Owen Hart." And I was like, "Who?" I didn't know Owen Hart at that point. I didn't know anything about Calgary. We didn't even get WWE wrestling until like 1988. Yeah, it was. We didn't even get that. We would see it in the books, the wrestling magazines and shit like that. But yeah, so they was like talking to me, and it's funny. Road Warrior Hawk came up to me. He saw I was dipping, and he was like, "What are you dipping, kid?" I was like, "Copenhagen." He goes, "Oh my God, would you give me one?" And I was like, "Sure." So I gave him a brand new can that I just literally bought and only took one dip out of. He grabs the whole damn can and he just grabs. He put the whole fucking can in his mouth. I mean, he went like the whole line. I mean, the whole bottom lip all the way across. And I just stood there looking at it like this. I was like, "Thanks, dude." I mean, that was like $10. Yeah. So, but anyway, I was talking to Ricky and everything. So Ricky and those guys invited me to the show that night, just to hang out. And we're talking about Waynesboro, Virginia. I mean, it's a lot. It's bigger now than what it was back then, so it wasn't very big back then. So, wrestling show was like, hell yeah, let's go check it out, So Friday night went down, checked it out. I didn't even sit in the audience. I was in the back with them the whole time, just chilling and hanging out. And me and Ricky were just talking and hanging out, and we just kind of connected. And we didn't even talk about wrestling or anything. It was just talking about bullshit stuff. And Road Warrior Hawk came back in, and he just got there, and he was like, "Yo, I was hoping you was going to show up." He said, "I'm going to paying you back for that dip you gave me. You saved my life." He brought me like a whole canister. It's like 12 of the fuckers in it. Yeah, and I was like, "Okay, cool." I was like, "Don't leave it one." But he goes, "No, you got it." But after that, I just got Ricky's card and stuff like that, and I didn't really call him for about another year and a half or something like that. But just one day where I was a pipe welder back then, and I was just having a really bad day at work. I was into boxing and martial arts and some wrestling and stuff like that, like amateur style wrestling throughout my teenage years and stuff. And I just wanted to do something like that. I didn't play football or baseball, stuff like that in school. I did boxing up until I was about 15.
Oh, wow.
From like 10 to 15. And then I did Krav, what Krav Maga is? Did some Krav Maga up until I was like 19. And just from there, I just piddled around with like some grappling type wrestling and a little bit of jiu-jitsu here, a little bit of Muay Thai there. Nothing to get a belt in, just messed with it and played around with it. But then the wrestling thing popped up, and it was like, wow, this is interesting. And I got, of course they lied to me. They were like, "Oh, you'd be a millionaire, man. You're going to be a fucking millionaire. You're going to win the heavyweight. You're going to do this. You're going to do that, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, all right, let's try it out. So I moved that day. I was on my lunch break. I went to lunch, and I was having a bad day. And that's when I called him on his little card that he gave me. And he said, "You need to get down here because we're going on tour. You're going with us."
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. So I went back to work, got my check, quit my job, went back to my apartment. I called my mother, my brother, and sister, and I said, "Come over here." They came over there, and I was like, "Yeah, take anything you want. Just don't leave anything in the place." Walked across the street, and I told the office that my job just transferred me to Tennessee, so I was reporting tomorrow. So they actually let me out of the thing, but I had done, kind of banged the girl a couple of times, so it was easy to get out of, and it was, I didn't have any trouble getting out of the contract. So
I remember that about you.
Banging the girl, yeah.
And now that you mention it, I never did get my radiator welded. I'm still waiting for it.
I'm still waiting on it.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Hey, it's like a mechanic. You work on everybody else's shit but your own, Yeah, so
I remember whenever there was a female around, you would it was impossible back in the day to bang a chick and not be crossing swords with KID.
Right.
From the
I don't think you had any trouble
working there to maids to anybody. Nobody was off limits.
Yeah, but from there, I just I left that day, and I met Ricky that night, and he took me to Johnson City, Tennessee, Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Yeah.
What was going on there, and there was a house that all these wrestlers were staying at, and that's where they kind of went to whenever they first got to town, until they got some money they could pair up or get their own place or whatever. The people that signed with them. And so that's what Glenn Jacobs, he was there. Anthony Michaels, he was there. Bunch of New Jack and Mustafa. Remember Mustafa?
Oh, we had him on.
Yeah, Mustafa was living there, and New Jack was coming up from Atlanta every week, and he would spend the night and stuff like that. But they was always clubbing and shit, and then doing everything, doing everything else, bringing the hose back. But yeah, I spent that night, got to know everybody, and then like 5 o'clock the next morning, Ricky's banging on the door, and he's like, "Come on, let's go." And I hadn't even unpacked my bag yet. I just grabbed it, and we took off. We went out to the cars, and he was driving this 1979 Ford LTD Crown Victoria. I mean, it was just rusted out. Yeah, it was bad. And he goes, "That's your car?" Back then, I was driving a Geo Storm sports car. Okay? Had a big hatchback in it and shit like that. And he says, "Is that your car?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "That's a good looking car." He goes, "Good on gas?" I was like, "Yeah, it's real good on gas." He goes, "Good on gas?" I was like, "Yeah, real good on gas." He goes, "Good, we're taking it." So I was like, "Okay." So I go to get in. He goes, "What are you doing?" I was like, "We're taking the car, right?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm driving." He said, "I don't let nobody drive me around." Yeah. So we drove that car. I mean, but from there, we left Johnson City, went to Nashville, Memphis. That was the first time I met Jerry Lawler and any of the Memphis crew and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. And then we went to like these crazy towns in Arkansas, like Jonesboro, Arkansas, Pocahontas, Arkansas, Rogersville, Arkansas, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, Champaign, Illinois. Then we went to Texas, then back to Arkansas, then back to Tennessee. We was on the road for like 2 weeks. Wow. That was, but I didn't wrestle. I was just sold their gimmicks, listened to them. When the ring was set up, we would get in it and they would show me this, show me that. That was it. Boom. Then I was watching their pictures and taking pictures for them and shit like that, carrying their bags, that kind of bullshit, paying my dues, So I did that for about a year. And then one day we were in Arkansas and Rob, you ever remember a guy named Bert Prentice?
Yep.
Okay. Well, Bert Prentice used to run a company called Ozark Mountain Wrestling down in Arkansas and West Tennessee, Memphis area. And I was just there with Ricky and Robert. And next thing you know, Greg Valentine wasn't going to show up. And his opponent was Wahoo McDaniels.
No shit.
Yeah. And of course, Ricky was like, they were talking to Ricky about it. And he goes, "Well, hell, my boy, he's got his gear. He'll work." I had never worked a match before. He said, "Hey, it's easy. Just get out there and listen to him. He's a veteran. Just listen to him. Whatever he says, you do." And I was like, okay. I got out there and he was like, "Frisk, Fernum, Durnum." I'm like, "What?" I was like, "What?" He goes, "Frisk, Fernum, Durnum." I'm like, "The fuck is that?" I was like, "I don't know what that means, man." He just like starts slugging me and just pounding on me and everything. And he gets me on the ground. He goes, "You with it, kid?" I was like, "Yeah." Then he starts talking Carney again. And I was like, what? And he said, "You say what one more time?" And I was like, "Okay." then we started doing some shit and everything. He shot me off and he said something. I had no fucking clue what he was talking
Hit me with the tears up, Kizik.
I was like, yeah. Like, you're gonna punch me in his, he was like, Pizzon's Kizik. And I was like, I hit the rope and I was just like coming off the rope, like, what the fuck, expecting something, But he wanted me to kick him because he was going to go for a backdrop, wanted me to kick him.
Uh-huh.
Like, but I just ran right into him. He bent over and his head hit me in the dick. Yeah. So, yeah, that really pissed him off. And then, he didn't get
it. Wiped all the paint off his bald head.
Yeah, it sweated off.
Right. Plus, your dick.
It would run down his ear, his neck.
It's on your balls. Wow, bro.
Yeah.
I got to paint his head one time.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is later on, after that, after he beat the fuck out of me, years later, I was at a show in Richmond, Virginia, and I actually painted his head for him. Because I had another match with him. But the first match was horrible. He just wasted. He just beat the shit out of me and then just pinned me and then cussed me out in the back, tell me I need to learn the business and blah, blah, blah. And Ricky stepped up for me there. But then about 2 years later, I wrestled him again in Richmond, Virginia. Completely different story. I in that 2 years, I really matured. I was like, I knew Carney like it was like my second language.
Fluently, you spoke it fluently then.
Yeah. Even though when I got into, people were just coming off of saying, speaking it. Not too many people were doing it anymore. Mm-hmm. You remember the handshake? You remember the handshake, Rob? The little.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it was the most ridiculous thing I ever seen. I hated that fucking.
I asked the Sheik because I was getting heat, and like 90 and 91 for either squeezing too hard, or else they were telling me, to do it like a limp fish. And it felt weird. And then I asked the Sheik because he was still around for advice back then. I said, hey, what? The guys are telling me. Sheik said, you fucking grab their hand and squeeze it like a man. I said, that's all I needed to hear.
Yeah. I didn't know any better at that because nobody had talked to me about the handshake. But I started noticing that these guys at the shows were giving me these weird faces and shit whenever I would shake their hand.
Yeah.
But I couldn't understand either because most of them were coming in with the light handshake, and I just grab it, and I just like, hey, how you doing, And one guy made a comment. God, what was that? Bill? You remember Bill Eady?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bill Eady. I shook his hand in the dressing room one night in North Carolina, and he just looked up at me like that. And he goes, I ain't down for no shoots tonight, kid. And I didn't even know what he was talking about, and I was like, "Yeah, right," and I just walked off,
Yeah, no. I never conformed because she told me not to, so I never had to. But when
I didn't.
When I heard that you're giving them a signal when you shake their hand, you can tell how stiff they are, and you're supposed to, if you just grab it real light. Then you're supposed to be telling them, this is how I am in the ring. And I'm like, I don't want to give anyone false impressions. You've been in the ring with me. I'm not light, am I?
Yeah, you're not light.
No, but I wasn't either. I mean, I never worked light from day one, and I never liked people to work light with me.
Right.
It was easiest. I can't sell something that it's hard to feel. It's just hard for me to. I can't tell you how many times I've watched TV before I even got into wrestling and watched people walk up behind somebody and give them the forearm in the back, and they didn't even sell it because they didn't know. They were already selling something else. Right. So they come in the back and they just keep on walking, selling their head from the first one. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I saw that.
Cash, was it?
So I never wanted that to happen to me. I would rather take the lump on the head or a bloody lip to sell it right,
Right. Was it Ricky that really taught you a lot of the work in the ring? Was he your big trainer kind of guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fucking amazing. Ricky's still going too, but I mean, this might be a good way to throw this in here because Dom, you've seen it. I don't know if you've seen this KID, this footage of what's labeled as possibly one of the top 2 worst stunners ever. and I'm in it. Yeah, it's like I don't remember it, so people are asking me like, what happened, and I don't remember it, but like he kicks me, and it's just a little clip that I saw, so I don't know what match, but he kicks me and I'm bent down, and then he goes and he completely fucking misses me, but his hand hits me on the back of the head while he's going down. People don't see that part. It's really hard to see. Like I have to be like slowing it down, like back into the left, back into the left. But he hit me and it triggered me, so I didn't know that he missed, and I fucking nosedive into it. And then he picks me up. It does it again, and it's hilarious. I'm not perfect, but I would like to say, critiquing myself, something that I would tell anybody else, well, if I was teaching them or whatever, what I do to make sure that doesn't happen again is if someone's going to grab me, I'm grabbing them too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm grabbing them, and then we're moving together, no matter what it is, a DDT, anything, that way, that kind of shit won't happen.
There it is, right here. Yeah, did
it
pop up?
Good.
I was drunk too. In my defense, I was under the influence of alcohol. I just saw. Oh, he didn't show the. Movie.
No, I saw it. It was pretty.
Oh, you saw it here, Rob. I'll pop it up again.
I saw me toasting. I didn't. It probably looped. He looped.
It did loop a couple times. Let's see if I can get it again.
Look, so you see him hitting the back of my head, my neck, right? So I didn't. That fucking brought me down.
Tossed a couple back already.
Right.
Wow.
He's got a very powerful chop to the back of the neck.
That's it. So, Cash, what so moving forward and stuff like that. And I did want to ask about this.
And to the left.
Rob, did you guys kind of connect then over the martial arts kind of background and stuff you both had in certain ways?
It was one of the things. Like I remember hanging out in ECW. Like he was just always like not just in my clique, but for some reason I feel like I always took to you like you were a little brother, even though I think we're the same age, or you might even be older than me. I don't know. We're around the same, but I always felt like he was like a little brother. And then I remember when I first went to your house or apartment, whatever it was, in Nashville or wherever the fuck we were, Johnson City, maybe, right? Anyway,
that was Nashville. Yeah. Nashville.
But when I went there, man, it was almost like, wait, is this a joke? Like, is this? It was almost because you had it set up just like I have my place set up at home, like the same, same like swords on the walls, the same yin yangs, and I actually thought, like, is he a stalker? Like it was so weird because I never met anybody that it was like he'd been in my house and then set his place up to look exactly like I did. And it was actually weird, but then I realized, well, that's why I like him. We vibe the same,
Yeah, I've always been into that kind of Asian culture type, like philosophies and things, the yin and yang. I have like this like sword collection from like every movie you can think of, like from the Dracula series to the Gladiator to fucking Lion. What was it? Braveheart,
yep.
All of them, man. Yeah, and then I would go to like flea markets and shit and get the katana swords.
Same. That's where I would shop too.
Yeah.
And I think we might have both been single at the time, and so it was like the way a bachelor would do without a woman's.
Yeah. Total bachelor pad. That was for sure. I remember when I got married. Yeah, whenever I got married, that everything had to be boxed up. It wasn't allowed. Just certain things. The shit I had to really fight for. Yeah, it didn't go with the other decor.
No, it didn't tie the room together, so to speak.
Isn't it true? I heard one time while we were working out at TNA that you had RVD in a rear naked choke and you couldn't make him tap and he escaped. Is that true or?
Do what?
I didn't expect you to remember.
Oh,
I'm joking. One time we were in the ring fucking no, we were separate in the ring in the daytime at Universal Studios. We were in the ring anyway. You just grabbed me. You grabbed me behind to get me in a rear naked choke, and we struggled for a little while, and I got out of it. And I just thought I'd bring it up because I was proud.
Yeah, I think didn't you flip me on my head or something? Didn't you?
I think I just was able to.
You didn't pout. You didn't.
I did because that's what you said. You said, "Damn, you're just too strong."
You flipped me on my head. You didn't power out. No. See, I got.
Anyway, I was proud because I know you do some MMA fights, and I think that's really cool that you, that you do that because there's a lot of talkers, and then you had that spirit in you to want to go and fucking compete, and part of that is that you still want to test yourself. That's part of doing that, right?
Oh yeah, I found out back in 2000 because in between wrestling for years, I mean, I would do like little local, like local MMA fights and shit like that, and stuff like that. I wasn't trying to be UFC because back then there was no UFC at the point. It was just little.
How old were you at this time, though?
I was between the ages of like 21 to 30. In between that age. I mean, I would do like little local, fights and stuff like that. But then the wrestling came more, prominent in my life as a career. I was getting booked, going everywhere and stuff. I was still
similar paths with that too. By the way, you were talking about that earlier.
Yeah,
you were talking about all the different pieces of martial arts that you've absorbed without staying in one to get a belt. And I'm like, dude, this is my story. Like I was talking about before, it's actually weird.
I did get a black belt in Krav Maga. It took me like 20 years to get it, but it was because it was on and off train. I trained very seriously from like 10 years old to 18 years old, right? But then I started wrestling, so it kind of started going to just training whenever I was home and stuff like that, So it took me a lot longer to get my black belt when I finally got it. But I never got any belts in like jiu-jitsu or any of the other stuff. I just took those classes to know, the meanings of them. Like jiu-jitsu. I never really was into jiu-jitsu other than to figure out how to get up off the ground if I got taken down.
Oh.
I never cared about doing chokeholds or anything like that or finding triangles on the ground. I just wanted to be able to get shoot on. And if I got to my back, I wanted to get back up because I'm much better on my with my hands and my legs than I am on my back. I'm not a submission guy. I could choke the shit out of somebody if I get on their back, but I'm not looking for it. If it happens to happen, then great. Then I was more worried about getting up and getting back to the feet, So that's the jujitsus that I would take. I would take like the, the white belt level, just the beginner classes. But then I mostly liked sparring with them because those guys, that was my thing. I was more into sparring than I was for the taking the classes, So,
you're telling my story, dude.
Yeah, I would get in there and I would, roll around with him for a while, but then I'm like, hey man, let's spar. So we get in there for, 5-minute round. We would do 5-minute rounds, it was just, but we do 3 or 4 or 5-minute rounds and stuff like that. We do 5, 6 of them at a time. Sometimes we would like 4 or 5 people would, get on the outside. And then after one minute, another guy would just jump right in there. It's called a round robin. You would just go at it, with anybody and everybody. Whoever jumped in is whoever was in for that minute,
I got a question. Like with Krav Maga, since some of some of the moves' intentions are to literally stop a fight. So how do you spar with that?
It's hard to use. Krav Maga is not even useful really in like the world of like MMA.
Really?
It's like Aikido. Aikido is not even useful in like the world of MMA. It's a one-dimensional. Krav Maga is a street fight, basically. There's no rules to it. You gouge eyes,
Really?
You pull ears, you bite, you pull, punch in the throat, you rip hair out, you kick in the balls. I mean, it's a street fight with technique. And that's what it's meant for. It's not meant to be defensive. It's more offensive than anything, you know. So, you know, somebody tries to, you know, get inside your bubble, you know, a throat punch. It's a throat punch. It's not like I'm, you know, like block this, block. No, it's just straight up. I'm the first guy throwing the punch. So I'm gonna punch you right in your throat.
I'm gonna fuck you up.
And then like stick my finger right there in the corner of your eyeball and pop that motherfucker out. Because if you can't see, you can't fight.
That's it.
You know? If you can't breathe, you can't fight. You know, but I'm not going to take the time to roll your ass on the ground and choke you.
What would you do? Chops to the chest in a Krav Maga?
Back and forth.
I don't think that would
a street fight.
I could do a back chop to the throat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about it last week, Cash. What moves do you hate in wrestling? Rob gave his list. What wrestling moves do you hate to see?
My all-time worst hated move, believe it or not, is the backdrop.
Really?
I've never liked taking the backdrop. I've hated it my whole entire career. I was never good at taking the backdrop, but a couple of times I just floated and took some nice ones. But I just, for something about it, I just couldn't fucking hate them. Somebody would say backdrop. I'm like, no, man, come on, let's do something else.
Let's think.
Everybody's doing that. You know, it's such an old move. Come on, man. Yeah. I don't know why, but I just hated the backdrop. And I see there ain't really. Oh, that fucking move he does whenever he sets you on the rope, and Fonzie would put that chair in your fucking
the Van Terminator.
Because sometimes, every now and then, he would crash that fucking chair right in your fucking face.
Yeah, Fonzie would do that, and I would get blamed. He would just hold it, and he would just wait and time it. So right when my foot's about there, he'd be like, "Bam!" Hey, Daddy, I got Kid Kash today. Got him, Daddy.
Yeah.
Got him, Daddy.
Well, that was a rough one.
Yeah.
No, but he's asking because like he's talking about wrestling today, how it's changed, because you and I are both old school, so he knows that like I hate the is it not the Oklahoma
the Spanish Fly,
Canadian Destroyer, and the
Canadian Destroyer. Yep.
Well, here's see now we're talking the Canadian Destroyer.
Yeah.
It's an impressive move. Don't get me wrong. But it makes absolutely no sense.
No.
How the fuck do you get somebody between your legs and then you do a standing backdrop? A standing sunset flip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To the point where a motherfucker comes off the ground and flips over onto his fucking. It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Who is doing the move? The guy taking it or the guy with the fuck? Who's doing it?
Yeah. How's that momentum get shifted? That's it.
And who gets hurt from it? Both guys go up, both guys go down. You can't tell who did what move to who. Yeah. Why they, you know.
I've had a couple of guys in the past.
Like hurt both.
I've had a couple of guys in the past be like, "Hey man, I'm going to do the Canadian Destroyer to me," and I'm like, "No, you're not." Yeah. Like, why not? It's a cool move. I was like, dude, I understand it's a cool move, but see, it's got to make sense for me to understand how it works, and I still haven't figured it out. So if you can explain it to me, then I might do it. But then they can't explain it. Well, it's like, well, you do this. I was like, no. How's the mechanics work?
Explain that to me.
Where's the fucking weight and the power coming from?
And you know what's extra stupid? They'll jump off the rope and then land on the ground going into it as if somehow that makes it make more sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It makes it, well, I guess I'm just old. I don't know, man. I've been watching
every show too.
I've been watching AEW.
Most overused move. That's it. Between the chop, the Canadian Destroyer, and maybe the side slam into a fucking twirl to head scissor gimmick. Yeah. Those three I say are in competition for the top way overused move. Every match has to have like 7 of each.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been watching a little bit of the AEW in the past couple of months, and I'm just blown away, man. Are they? I think everybody thinks that that's the way we worked in ECW too, for some reason.
It seems to be.
That's
And
it.
I don't see. I was like, have you not watched the videotapes? I mean, I know you're young, but have you not watched the videotapes? I mean, we didn't do move after move after move after move. I mean, at least there was a tad bit of selling. There was a little bit of storytelling. You know what I'm saying? And we placed our moves where they were important to be, you know, where they should be. These guys are just doing moves to just fucking waste time and fucking fill the fucking time up in the match. That's it. I mean, there's no psychology to any match that I've seen so far. I don't get it.
Bro, I got so much heat a few weeks ago for saying that I didn't prefer the death style kind of matches over, you know, actual like wrestling.
Really?
And yeah, I was called a hypocrite because of that.
Big time.
Because I was in ECW.
You.
Yeah. Raw boys.
Wow.
It was a whole day of arguing with idiots.
It was quite the day.
Yeah.
I've actually have been at an indie show and just visiting. I wasn't even, you know, because I haven't wrestled in quite a while, but I mean, I started coming back out doing some things. But I was just, you know, watching and stuff, and there was this impressive young man there, man. I don't even remember his name, but he was impressive, had a nice body, you know. I mean, he was kind of like my height. I'm not a tall guy, but he was about a little, maybe. You know, yeah. So he was maybe about an inch taller than me, and I was like talking to him in the back, you know, stuff. And I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "You got what it takes, man." I was like, "So far, I haven't seen you work yet." So he's telling me his match in the back and stuff like that, just telling me. And then I'm like, "Why are you doing all of that? I mean, you only got like 15 minutes. I mean, so I think that's with the entrances too, you know, so." How about just starting like with a little bit of wrestling, you know, headlock, shoulder tackle, step over, kip up, sweep, you know, something exciting, you know, to get the baby face over and shit like that, you know, maybe a little dip out the rope. Everybody's high flying here, you know, maybe a little plancha to the floor, you know, just trying to give him a little advice. And he was like, "What?" He goes, "That's kind of old, isn't it? Nobody does that stuff anymore, you know." I'm like, "What the hell you mean they don't do that anymore?" Like,
that makes it all the more valuable to do it now.
Yeah, and I was like, telling him, it's like, yeah, after you do that, calm it down, and like take over and just, you know, let the crowd fucking, you know, let them bake a little bit, and then start pulling them up and down, you know, trying to tell him how, you know, the roller coaster that a wrestling match should give a fan. You know, that it should be up and down, you know. But yeah, these kids like, nah, that doesn't make sense. And I'm like, what makes sense? The fuck you mean it doesn't make sense? Yeah. So yeah, then they're like, well, another guy after he went and I was watching his match, I just kind of shook my head because he did absolutely nothing that I gave him the advice to. Well,
it's like there's like almost 2 generations missing of being trained the right way now.
Well, he comes in the back and he was like, "Did you see that?" And I was like, I played it off. I was like, "Hey man, good man, good." Like that. He said, "That looks a little sarcastic." I was like, "Well, it is a little bit." I was like, "I was just trying to help you out." I was like, "Listen," I was like, "You got a bright future. You'll figure it out, man. Don't, you know, it's trust me, I figured it out." And I had Ricky Morton in my ear, and I went against so much shit that he was telling me. I was trying to figure it out on my own, you know. Some things worked and then some things didn't, you know. So I was kind of what I was telling him. Well, he goes and tells another kid that Kid Kash is jealous.
What?
Yeah. Kid Kash is just jealous because he couldn't do that shit. Yeah.
That's so insecure. Like such.
Yeah, I think he said that. He's like, "Yeah, I guess it sucks for him to be old now, huh?" I was like, "You little motherfucker! I would fucking blow your ass up even at 55 years old. I'd blow you up, and I wouldn't even be working hard."
No,
you know. Yeah, I just pulled a Ricky Morton on his ass. Old Southern style match.
That's
Fucking
it.
shit, and I would have him blown up.
You'd have to go wahoo on him.
You know what? You know what's weird? Well, I'll just stick with that word for now. But I remember being young and being a punk and coming into the business and thinking, you know, for me, one guy that stands out in my mind was Stan Hansen.
Oh, yeah.
Used to tell me in Japan, right, that he would always act like, because I'm, you know, give me a backdrop, I land on my feet, right, and if I can, you know, round back handspring and dives, and he would always put my whole style and me and my whole position, even being there in the company in the dressing room, to shame, you know. And he like, we'd be going over a match beforehand, and he'd be like, he always called me Claude, and he'd be like, yeah, tag Claude in, you know, and you know, let him do all his silly shit with the young boys, you know, and at some point, you know, bring me in, I'll see if I can get them to start believing again. And that was like, you know, like I knew that he kind of liked me, and there was a little bit of humor to it, but he always was saying that. And so when I look back and I think about, because he really was frustrated, because I'd see it, you know, especially on long tours, when he'd be like, what the hell do I know, though? I'm 55 years old. What do I know? You know, and I remember, you know, thinking like, man, he just needs to move his way out, man. The fans are cheering because of the shit that I'm doing, and my ego would make it hard for me to understand what was going on. So, you know, I feel partially responsible for bridging that gap. And when he, you know, didn't think, when he thought that I was a demon seed that was going to come in and change things, I kind of feel like, how can I say he was wrong?
Well, yeah, I mean, but his era, you know, like Ricky did the same thing to me. Ricky trained me.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I mean, at that time, I tag teamed with him for like 5 years. So I was the high flyer of the group. But to them, high flying.
You were David, Tyler, Morton, Jericho.
No, I was just David Jericho. That was it. Yeah.
Oh,
but
really?
Yeah. So
you were Morton, dude. Weren't you Morton?
Well, not till I went to ECW.
Okay.
The first time I was in ECW.
So you were Morton in ECW.
Yeah. Well, the first time I went to ECW, I was Davey, Morton, Tyler, Jericho.
Whoa.
And then it turned into Davey, Morton, Tyler, Jericho, Paisano.
Yeah. Van Dam. Oh yeah.
Were you part of the FBI?
Well, me and Guido. Yeah.
That's right.
I didn't know that.
I was from the Italian suburbs of Nashville, Tennessee.
Probably where Tracy came from too. Huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they said the exact same thing whenever we were up there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, but I would do the same thing to Ricky. I mean, after we quit tag teaming, you know, I just woke up one day and I'm like, man, I need to get out on my own. I need to, you know, make my own name. I've been working with him, and you know, they just look at me as the one, you know, the new guy of the Rock and Roll Express and all this stuff. And, you know, I don't want to be that. I want to be somebody else, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's when I started kind of breaking away from them on my own and started getting booked by myself and stuff. Then I would come back later on, a year or two later, and tag with Ricky, and I'm doing this really big high flying shit, you know, because when I was with them, they only wanted me to do drop kicks off the top rope. You know,
oh, yeah,
or maybe the standing the victory roll, leap up on the shoulders. You know, that was high flying to them
because that's all they want to take.
Yeah, well, yeah. But then whenever I would come back around, you know, after about a year doing my own shit, you know, going down to Mexico or something like that, you know, coming back, and then I would be
Hurricane Rana's off the top rope.
Oh yeah. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Who does that shit? That don't mean nothing. Here's what the crowd did. Here's what the crowd did. Nothing. You know what? You were moving around so goddamn much they couldn't even tell what the fuck you were doing. So how they gonna cheer for you if they don't even know what the fuck you doing? Hell, they couldn't even see half the shit. Why would you do that? Who taught you that? Why? And then I would be like, yo, look, man, you're just mad because your ass can't do this shit. Right? No bullshit. I'm not mad about that. I don't give a fuck about doing that shit. You know, and I know how to wrestle. And I was like, yeah, you know how to wrestle. I know how to work. You know, and then, oh man, even though I don't know why he didn't disown me, you know, because I mean, after a while, I mean, I was like, you know, getting like arrogant there, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, I can do shit that you can't do, motherfucker. You know, and then he was be like, fuck you, you don't know how to wrestle, you don't know how to work. That's not work. That's this today's work. What you doing was old school shit. That's ancient. Nobody does that no more, you know.
Yeah.
But I called him up. God, I was in the business probably 15 or 16 years, and I went to the WWE.
Yeah.
And the WWE, Rob will tell you, the WWE will calm your fucking ass down from anything that I was doing before. They did not want that at all. So they sent me down to Georgia to calm me down for a couple of months. And then I came back up, but I understood then the whole side of it. I understood the longevity of wrestlers, you know, the entertainment end of it, you know, preserving yourself. You know, all these years I was destroying my body, hitting a concrete fucking floor when a guy would miss me when I did a tope out of the fucking ring and nobody would be there. You know, I'd smash my back, hurt my hip, break my knee, break a leg.
And also, dude, one point that you're not bringing up, because I mentioned this before on here, and I was talking about wrestlers that don't travel around to different organizations. They can't be as well-rounded. No. And as an example, once wrestlers have gone to WWE and they learn to slow everything down and shit, afterwards they work different than they did before they went up there, even if they could totally change to how they used to be. But they understand the thing I was going to say, and that's making everything mean more, right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's what Ricky had always tried to tell me. So one night, man, I think I was there. I just won the cruiserweight title or something, and we went to California, and we got in late, and I was driving down from the LAX to trying to find my hotel room on that fucking freeway that I kept getting lost on, and kept taking the wrong damn exits and having to turn around and all kinds of shit. But I called him up, and he was in bed. I mean, it was like 3 a.m. and he's like, "You all right? What's going on? You okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "Look, dude, I'm sorry to call you this late, but I just wanted to tell you were right, and I'm sorry." And he goes, "What? What do you mean? What?" And I was like, "What you were telling me all those years. You fucking called me at 3 o'clock in the morning for this shit. You couldn't wait till fucking tomorrow." Yeah, but I had to tell you, man. I just couldn't wait. I just had to tell you, man. He goes, "Look, I'd at least wait till the fucking morning. God damn.
Let me have a cup of coffee first or something."
Yeah, but he called me the next morning. He called me back up, and he was like, "See, I told you. Told you."
That's part of the process. You got to go through those different perspectives.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's got to mean something. All that shit you were doing didn't mean nothing. You were everybody's.
Yeah. And that's how we feel when we watch.
He called it cheap pop. You know, he's like,
and now they've taken that.
Did you see? I think that what's getting me about AEW is they're really pushing guys that I've never even seen or heard of. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these guys are coming out of nowhere, and they're really pushing them hard. But I mean, I'm sorry. There's just I feel like they really do need to do some major weeding out of their dressing room, man. There's some guys that can work their asses off, and then there's some guys that I'm like, what in the fuck? Who signed this kid? No disrespect to anybody. I love, Taz is a good guy. Me and him made up a long time ago, and there's never, no water under the bridge. But his son, I don't understand. I don't get it. Good looking kid, maybe he could do something else, but I'm just not sure if wrestling is his thing,
Well, so
that is so gonna get you some comments online.
I just don't understand. I mean, I watched the match. It was just, hey, everybody, trust me, I've had bad matches myself, not very many, but I've had one or two in my career, but I never on TV.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw a match. It was as a 6-man, I think, and Jericho was in it, and I think Samoa Joe might even have been in it, but he got in there from the time he tagged in. You can tell it was obvious that he lost it all. Whatever was discussed was gone.
Oh,
And you could tell everybody that was in there with him, Jericho literally was carrying him. I mean, picking him up, putting him where he needed to be, setting him up for whatever he needed, and was reminding him. You could see this.
Proper usage of the word literally, by the way.
What's that?
Yeah. We've had.
I was just saying that's proper usage of the word literally, by the way. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, but he was like everybody, anybody that tagged in was putting him where he needed to be. And you could tell on his comebacks, he was even forgetting his own comebacks. I mean, a deer in headlights. I mean, those kind of deals. They got through the match, but nobody, of course, the commentators didn't do anything but put him over, and stuff.
Sure.
But it was just obvious. And I have yet to see him in anything. And I've watched quite a few matches of his, and I only think
RVD teamed with him, and we had some pretty good matches, and the crowd loved him.
Well, okay.
You go. I mean, you can't judge somebody. Everything that you told me so far, if it's just the one match,
no.
Okay, because Marks don't understand. Like, dude, what if he had a concussion? Didn't want anyone to know. What if he was sick? What if he hadn't slept and he had food poisoning? What if anything? What if he was super late, just got to the arena and only had like 10 minutes to hurry up and get dressed, and everyone's trying to talk to him and shit, and he went out there scrambled? But those things are never considered by the fan.
How many times I don't know about you, but every single thing you've named off in a 30-year period in my career, I've been through every single one of those. And I went and wrestled, and we had a 5-star match.
Did you ever have to poop? Did you ever have to poop?
Yes. And I've actually pooped my pants before whenever you splashed me and shit squirted out my ass.
You and Jerry Lynn.
You did. This motherfucker. No. You did. Well, you made it happen.
You made it happen.
What did you?
Me and Jerry call it the gerbil squirter because it squirts gerbil-sized shit out your ass into your underwear.
I'm just trying to get my fucking radiator welded done.
That's it. That's all he wanted.
I'm still trying to clean my underwear from 1997. What are you talking about?
So I do know there was a match where Hook did get concussed in. I don't know which one it was. I know it was like a 6-man tag. I don't know if it was necessarily that one.
I would like to see them do something without. He's just a smaller version of Taz.
Well, so they packaged him really well starting off, and they really had the machine behind him, especially when Rob was tagging with him and everything like that. They were doing a really good job at promoting him, but then they lost their way with it, and that happens with a lot of talent.
Well, I don't know. He dresses. He comes out with boxing shorts on.
Yeah,
and boxing boots. Why don't he use more of that in his wrestling style instead of worrying about doing suplexes to guys that are like twice his size?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I seen him trying to, that Big Bill guy.
Yeah, Big Bill.
Even Chris Jericho's bigger than him. He's trying to do those dangerous, suplexes that his dad used to do on people's heads and shit like that to big guys, and I'm like, listen, after a while, you got to be a little realistic,
There's certainly
man. I mean, where anywhere in life would you ever really see that happen? Somewhere. But I guess wrestling has changed from making it as real as you can make it look to just making it look as Cirque du Soleil as you can.
You know what it is? Yeah, and with that in the industry overall, we have the performers who think that they're playing to a crowd that knows how everything goes because they grew up thinking they knew how everything went. And then they got into the business, took the business over, made things exactly how they thought it was. So that's why we lost a lot of the old school stuff that was there. But now they think they're playing to a smart crowd. So they're like, oh, the crowd's not going to mind that I'm holding onto your hand and walking all the way around the ring on the top rope. And we completely stopped wrestling. They're not going to mind because the payoff's going to be worth it. And they completely stop wrestling. It's because they think that they grew up and manifested and believed that it was so fake that it's faker than it's ever been. You know,
yeah. I think
can you imagine grabbing like Wahoo's arm and walking down the tightrope? Like he would like yank it back.
Yeah.
You got to be quick with that shit. Actually, I did that with Dory Funk Jr. in '93, and I would like, I'd say go ahead and pull and shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna balance. And anyway, I got this from watching Brady Boone. I'd have him swing at my legs, and I would jump up and then do a fucking 180 and land on my thighs, and then backflip in, and then pull him into a fucking hip toss. Yeah. And I thought that shit was so cool. And Owen Hart, actually, I think both of them did that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it was Owen Hart. I think I might have seen before Brady Boone. Anyway, did that with Dory Funk Jr. And just the way he held my hands so tight, I did that backflip. It broke my wrist, and that's
wow.
That's why now, fucking. What are we? 32 years later, I can't. I got look. This is me. This is the that's me trying to get my wrists bent, as much as I can. It just, that started it. It's been broke several times, but that one started it, and it's always made benching hard. Although it's fucking serious weight up still for years, but now it's all arthritic. But yeah, I got I got to do knuckle push-ups. I can't, go on my palms, and I always think about that from Dory Funk Jr.
Yeah.
Dory. Yeah, I think if they just gave Hook a little bit more of a gimmick change, to his style, I think he would get over a whole lot. I don't think he's getting over like he did before. He was getting over big time. When he was coming out, they were popping for him, but he's not getting that anymore. Mm-hmm. I hate to see him wasting, because he's that kid that, how WWE is. I mean, they're the only place to go now besides Japan. Right. So do you think he would fare well in Japan, or would he get picked up by the WWE? I mean, I think that would be the best thing for him. If he
I agree.
Then they can really work with him and, hone his skills better, give him a better character, probably.
They've done it with a lot of talent, and like a lot of AEW talent has gone over to NXT or WWE, and it's like they position the stars right.
That, man. It's not. What TNA is really doing a lot of stuff with WWE now. That was crazy. Yeah. I never thought that would happen, but yeah,
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're letting a lot of people come out now from the TNA.
Yeah.
That Joe Hendry guy, that was hilarious. The coming out there at WrestleMania
with the Randy Orton. Yeah.
Check that kid out. TNA guy comes out and wrestles WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many people don't get to wrestle on WrestleMania?
Right. I mean, come on. No, they bought AAA, and they seem like they're just making so much money. They got to find little crevices to squeeze the money into, and so
I keep hearing that was a bad deal.
Oh, really?
A lot of people talking on the internet. That was it's mostly like Mexican wrestlers. I guess they're like that was just a bad call. Something about CMLL. And
like the rivalry down there?
I guess there is. Yeah, I guess there's a big rivalry. Yeah.
Well, even if it's a tax write-off, I'm just saying they got like so much money that they got to find places to put it, and they're doing the ID thing or whatever it is with the
flying.
Yep.
Yeah, with the independent scene, and and they're like partnering with other companies that they never did. And I'd be surprised if they just start making more acting TV shows. They can do whatever they want. I feel like, and I feel like I feel like the fans are always going to support it, and that after this many years, everything has been set up so that they're like funneling in so much support, while at the same time, if they're even like making cuts and here and there, it's just gonna get better. But I just think that they're gonna keep growing, and we're gonna keep seeing them. I don't know, starting new sports, building new centers, whatever they want to do. I don't know what they want to do.
Well, they got that new. There's a couple of new shows there. The one's looks like a fucking blood sport mat. There's no ropes on it. I guess it's a shoot, but it didn't look like a shoot to me. It looked like it was a work shoot.
Yeah.
And then they got that new one, Legends, Future Legends or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
I watched that one.
LFG. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I mean, they are coming out with some stuff. I mean, they got a lot of shows, that are WWE branded, on TV. But I mean, is that what they're trying to do? They're trying to take it all over. They're going to probably take TNA eventually. And
well, I mean, what would you do except for continue to grow? Isn't that the incentive and agenda and goal for all companies, especially big conglomerate companies, is just to continue to grow? That's exactly what good business is. That's what
you think the people will still watch after a while if they own everything?
Bro, but they're paying $40,000 to sit in the front row at SummerSlam.
It's crazy. Did you see that?
$40,000 for one ticket.
Are you freaking kidding me?
It's nuts.
And they just did this at WrestleMania. They charged up the ass there. And did they sell out? Maybe someone could argue, but they fucking had a lot of people. If they weren't, I don't know if they sold out. They didn't sell out. Actually.
They had definitely really, really good attendance. It was like 124,000 people over the 2 nights.
Oh, did they say they sold out then? Don't know.
Can't remember if they did or not. I can't remember.
Was that per night or both nights?
That was both nights combined, 124,000.
So each night was about 50,000 people then.
Something like that, yeah, about like 60 something.
And that's a small arena, really.
I think the tickets have been bumped up a little bit on the average for.
It was in Vegas. It was in Vegas. That's probably why.
Yeah.
I was hearing like 15,000 per night. Prices around that area, and then now for SummerSlam, that's $40,000. So as far as like, will fans quit watching it if they own everything? I don't think so. I think that they will. I think the wrestling fans would vote The Rock to be president of the United States. And expect and expect half the locker room to be his cabinet and his fucking security. They'd be cool with it.
Get RVD.
Is he a part owner in the WWE?
He's on the board of directors of TKO, which owns WWE. So Ari Emanuel owns the whole shebang of it all, and then The Rock is on the board of it. So
does that mean that he doesn't own part of it?
He owns, I guess you could kind of call him an owner in certain ways, but not technically he does.
So you don't know, like he could have shares as part of
I would say he definitely has shares and stuff like that. He's got stake in the company for sure. But
so I guess that's not common knowledge, or if it is, you don't know. Whatever.
I'm not sure about the particulars of it all. I just know he's on the board of directors for
this. So do you guys think in any way that AEW is any kind of competition for WWE?
I don't think from WWE's perspective, but I think for the fans that are because the AEW fans, some of them, the ones that are online anyway, they're really like so supportive that they attack if they think that someone is saying anything negative about AEW because they want this movement, and to them it's competition because they have a choice of what they're going to watch, and then they choose to watch AEW. So, not when it. I don't think when it comes to all the big overall numbers, what do I know? But it is for them. And besides that, I feel like they want to do their own show, and because of that, because they want their style to be a little different, then I feel like from that perspective, then it's not competition. Mm-hmm. But anything that's on TV, technically, Wheel of Fortune should be considered competition.
I just see that they do like
Wheel.
They do so crazy shit. They do the high flying stuff, and then they'll go do like the death match stuff. Mm-hmm. Did you see the spiked bat thing?
Oh, we talked about that.
Yes,
suplex on
that. Yeah.
I don't know if that was gimmicked or not, but it looked like it was stuck in that dude's back, man.
It did, yeah. Yeah, I said that's not for me. That's not my preferred style. And the fans got so
and the fans got angry at Rob for that, too.
Oh, you're ECW. You're a hypocrite.
We didn't do that. We
That's it.
That's the way they remember it, though.
We did barbed wire matches and stuff like that. We didn't do baseball bat with fucking spike nails in it, batting the shit out of each other.
But trying to be extreme, you're always trying to push it to the next level. That's what being extreme is about.
Well, after what I saw, the only thing that's going to be more impressive than that is somebody actually gets killed. I mean, that was crazy. I honestly, I was in ECW for crying out loud, so I know what extreme wrestling is. You know what I'm saying? We didn't do death matches.
And me and you weren't New Jack and Vic Grimes going from the fucking from the ceiling of the place to death.
Yeah, we weren't Terry Funk and Mankind either. Cactus Jack. We didn't do any of that. But
I didn't do any matches.
I never even. I mean, the worst thing I ever saw Mick Foley do was a Barbara wrapped bat.
That was his gimmick. Like everyone kind of had like their gimmick.
Yeah,
that's how it was. Here's my problem with the death matches is that overall, if you don't have to ever know how to wrestle in order to do the whole match or the whole show, then it's not really wrestling to me. It is a style. It definitely has some followers and stuff, but it's, when you're a kid and you can do the same stuff, if you want to kill yourself, light yourself on fire, then it's totally like not the same thing that we're doing. Just like collegiate wrestling isn't the wrestling that we're doing.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I can't tell you I've seen any death matches that ever had wrestling in it.
It's possible, though. I mean, I don't know.
They may lock up, but
with Terry Funk and Cactus, like when they did it, I don't know what they did, to be honest. I'm sure it was classic matches.
Well, I did see some stuff from Japan where they would hip toss each other into the barbed wire, the exploding barbed wire fucking platform, and they would hip toss them. Boom, and then they would like land on it, and then it would explode up under them.
Yeah. I guess for me, what it would take would be at least somewhat of the psychology. Like when I remember Sabu doing barbed wire matches, he would do a lot of the same stuff that he would do as if the ropes were there. Even the chair, top rope, or whatever into it.
Have you seen that video of his last match?
Yeah.
I was there for that.
Did you see the one where the board was up against the barbed wire and he slung him in and it just went straight out?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I saw him last weekend. And I was like, "Are you all right?" He goes, "Yeah." He said that wasn't supposed to happen. He goes, "Sometimes the barbed wire it gets a little loose and stuff." And I'm like, "Jesus Christ!"
I talked to a lot of fans, and they all said that they were not disappointed. So that's awesome.
From what I saw of the match, that was crazy shit.
Mm-hmm. Sabu was telling me too how like he typically wanted them to like double wrap it, and they didn't necessarily do it the right way on there.
Yeah, that's what he said.
He just went right through it basically. So
It was a good match for what it was. I mean, that was
yeah,
crazy shit. But
it was. It
wow.
was the crowd was into it too, big time.
I'm surprised he didn't break his damn neck.
You were there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there for it.
That
Fonzie,
was a hell of a bump, man. That was a bump.
Fonzie thought he busted his head open. That's what he thought when he went through there. He was telling me yesterday. He was like, I thought Sabu busted his head open real bad, and luckily he didn't. But he was definitely knocked a little silly too. Yeah, crazy stuff. Hey, Cash, before I forget too, I wanted to ask you too, how did the Kid Rock thing kind of come into play for you? Because I always thought it was, I was telling my buddy this, I was like, dude, I did not like Kid Rock when I was a kid, but I loved Kid Cash. Like it worked for me, like as getting into it. How'd that come to be?
I've been told a couple of different things. I don't know who. Paul says he came up with it. Tommy Dreamer said he came up with it, and Joey Styles said he came up with it. So I was actually wrestling Easy Money on one of the hardcore TVs one night. They were editing the show at Paul's house with the VCRs and the tape and all that shit, you know. And at the end of the match, because me and Easy was the main event there at the arena that night. So at the end of the match, you know, back in the day, whenever you would dub the tapes, you know, the TVs would be running. So when they would be finished dubbing, the TV would click back on, right? Yeah. The station that you were watching, and it happened to be MTV. And at the end of the match, I stood up on the rope, you know, and did the thing in my hair. I had long hair at the time, you know, and it was down in my face. And as soon as the tape went off, the TV came back on, and it was MTV, and Kid Rock was singing "I Want to Be a Cowboy." And he was looking up into the camera like this, and his hair was down in his face. And supposedly Joey Styles looked over and said, "He looks like Kid Kash." I mean, he looks like David Cash. Yeah. And somebody they kind of flicked and checked it out one more time and said, yeah, they do kind of look alike and everything. And then Joey Styles said Kid Kash, but then Paul said he said the name Kid Kash, and then Tommy Dreamer said he said the name Kid Kash. So
it was me.
It was wrong.
I was told the following weekend when we went back, and we were in New York somewhere in one of those hockey rinks. We were going to wrestle in the hockey rink, and Tommy Dreamer come walking by everybody, and I was talking to Guido. I was with Guido at the time, as a matter of fact. I was still Davey Morton, Tyler, Jericho, Paisano. So he came back, and he walked through us, and he was saying hello to everybody. And he passed, and he stopped, and he turned around. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, David Cash." And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "You are no longer Davey Morton, Tyler, Jericho, Paisano." I was like, "I'm not?" He goes, "No." He goes, "You are now Kid Cash." And I was like, "Okay." And he was like, "Do you know who Kid Rock is?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Look him up, start dressing like him, and then we'll figure out some music." I'm like, "Okay." So Jason Knight actually dove on that. He knew, I guess he was into Kid Rock. So he's the one that suggested I use Ba with the Ba, the entry music and all that stuff. And then he gave me a couple of pictures of what Kid Rock looked like. So back then we had that store Hot Topic.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So that's where I got the black pleather pants. Rob actually bought me, I still have it. I don't know if you remember, you bought me a shirt. Had the money signs up on the top of it. It was a silk shirt. And then it had like the martini glass buttons. Yeah, you and Sonia gave it to me in LA. Well, you and your
Evil X
gave it to me in when we came to LA out there.
Cool. It sounds vaguely, slightly, maybe familiar.
Yeah, it's great. I'm looking at it right now. It's in one of my promo shot pictures on the wall, but it's got green patch up here, like a cowboy type looking shirt, you know, but it's got dollar signs in it.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's embroidered.
Green.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. It's all blinged out. Yeah.
But Cash Money was your partner, right? Wasn't there Cash Money at one point?
Cash
No.
money.
Well,
Easy money.
No, that was my catchphrase. Kid Kash is money.
was it Easy Money?
Oh, easy money. Yeah, that was a good. Yeah, easy money.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, my pot dude is C Money, and so I'm all confused here. So shout out to C.
Shout out to C there. We do have some super chats in here too.
Yeah, but there was easy money too. Yeah,
easy money. Yeah.
That is what I was thinking. Oh, that's sorry, E.
Easy money. Jim the Don just says, Cash, your legend. The name's Dutch Rob, RVD fan. Dutch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody, you know what that, you're trying to blow that off like you know what it is, but you don't know what that is. Right?
I don't know what that is. What is it?
That's a line from
Bloodsport.
Moon. Blood Moon.
Is it?
Blood Moon, which was the first movie that I did. So 96-ish.
Yeah.
No, Super Fights was the first one, and then that led to a second movie with the same production company, which was Blood Moon. Both of those movies were produced by Seasonal Films. I was stoked because I watched them growing up, and Cynthia Rothrock, Jean-Claude Van Damme started with them actually with. No Retreat, No Surrender, if you know that movie. That ended up being part 2 and part 3 also of that. But Billy Blanks, what was the King of the Kickboxers. Anyway, I was a fan of that shit. And anyway, one of my lines in Blood Moon is and I'm like trying to bang this girl on a pinball machine, right?
Uh-huh.
Dude, man, how young am I? Like 20? This is probably 90. Had to be 96, 95 or 96. Had to be 96 because I was already with ECW. 96, 97 even maybe. I don't know, but all I know is I did not know how to take a girl's bra off. At that point in life, I hadn't done it myself, and I was too embarrassed to admit it. I just kind of said, oh yeah, I'll get it. And I wasted so much footage and time for everybody because they wanted her tits to pop out. And time into action, they'd be like, kissing and stuff. And I'd reach around back and I'd say, you motherfucker, God damn it, open, you son of a, and I kept, and she even one time between takes said, by the way, it's clicking to the left, okay? I'm going to take help. I was like, oh yeah, I got it. But I was for some reason, like my ego would not let me take the help, and I didn't even think about it as being a scene. I started thinking of it as a challenge or whatever. And so in the final scene, in the take, her tits don't even pop out. I could not get it. They decided to move on. And this dude comes in saying, hey, bozo, or whatever his line was. I don't know. And I go, the name's Dutch. But I'm really pissed because I couldn't get them titties.
They couldn't get them titties. It was fueled you.
Apparently, by that point in life, every time I seen the titties, the bra was being undone by the owner of the titties, not me. And I did not get the push together. I didn't get it at the time. And man, that's just a good example of being young and stupid because I should have just said, okay, let me try it one time off, and then got it in one take. But I was, and you know what? It was that girl, by the way. This is a weird story, but the night before, like she wanted to get together so we would be comfortable shooting. But I think I had my Evil X with me or whatever. And then like right before we shot it, I hadn't even talked to her hardly or anything, just met her like, hi. And so she was like, well, at least give me a hug, so I know you, And so it wasn't like two real professional actors, that had really had a lot of experience or whatever. But man, I really thought I'm going to rip that fucking bra off this time. But you never saw the titties.
Never saw them. Dang
No.
it. Man, left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry, everybody. You're supposed to see some titties. Because of me, you didn't see no titties.
No titties in Blood Moon. It was 1997, Rob, was when the movie came.
That makes sense because I knew that I had done Super Fights first, and then Blood Moon second. And I knew that I'd started with ECW because I had to be at a show. We were filming in Hershey. Why do I always think Harrisburg and Hershey are the same place?
They're close. They're pretty
okay?
close.
I always think that in my head. So I guess we were in Hershey this night. No, Harrisburg, because maybe we were wrestling. No, I had to catch a flight. Anyway, I went as a zombie because I pushed it so far. My scene is a dead body in the morgue that I was doing after the dude kicked my ass when I got all cocky with him and said, "The name's Dutch." Dude kicked my ass, killed me. Probably killed my girl too. I don't know. Or
Definitely no titties.
She probably left with him if not, but either way, whatever he wanted, he was in control. But I had a scene and it kept getting later and later and later. It wasn't my fault. I was just doing nothing. I was dead. But the actors had like a really long dialogue scene. They were doing a really long take, which was before they do that now. Holy shit, what was it? I watched something a couple weeks ago, by the way. A lot of people wouldn't notice this, but the entire you know, it was the Menendez brothers.
Oh,
Netflix, and then the lawyer is asked a question or something to the one brother, and then he's telling his story. They do the entire thing in one take.
jeez.
And a lot of people wouldn't notice that, but I was telling Katie, like, holy fuck, I kept pausing it. I just want you to know it's been 15 minutes. They still have not taken one break or whatever. We watched for it. They did the whole thing. So I bet, like, in the business, people probably know about that and get awards or something, I hope.
Yeah.
No, because that's cool shit. But anyway, they were doing something like that in this one. Not nearly that long, but the thing was 2 or 3 minutes of dialogue, getting on an elevator and off an elevator, walking into the morgue, still talking, and the guy that was talking was Frank Gorshin, who played the Riddler in the old Batman series. So that was really cool, you know. So I was like, "Hey, take your time, Frank," but I was really like a zombie and shit. And I was like, you know, if I don't leave pretty soon, I'm gonna miss my flight, and
I gotta go.
pretty soon. They were like, "Okay, you got time for one more take?" You know, like, we'll have a car waiting for you and everything. I said, okay. And boom. And I got on the plane, still had like most of my makeup on and everything. And I went as a zombie and raised a lot of questions. I think I went to Philly. I don't know where the fuck I went, but turned a lot of heads.
Well, hey,
how
about that's pretty awesome.
Batman marks.
The fucking Riddler, man.
The
That's
original
awesome.
Riddler, yeah.
Frankie Turizo asked this: any ECW backstage party scene stories for both you guys?
Yeah. A lot of stories.
Lots of stories.
No, I don't
nothing that wouldn't incriminate me. So
yeah. Yeah. If there's anything
listen, man, back then we were young and we were probably both of us in our 20s at least. So I know that we did what most 20-year-olds would have done, and if they were doing what we were doing, being where we were being at that time.
The travel lodge stories and all that stuff.
Yeah. It's just I got grandkids now. You know what I'm saying? So it's just something that I don't want to tell a story that, you know, the next thing I know, one of my grandkids would be like, "Granddaddy,
hey, what the heck happened here?"
I was watching the YouTube and you were talking, man, you really did that? Yeah. Oh man. It's crazy now. You know what I'm saying? It's like I look back.
Do you remember the night at the Travel Lodge where New Jack peed on my groupie, my fan? There was a girl and she brought a teddy bear and a karate outfit to give me as a gift. You remember that?
Yeah. Do you remember Balls Mahoney? That fucker, I roomed with him one night because I got my flight got in late, so we had just enough time to get to the building and stuff. And I couldn't get a room till after the show. Mm-hmm. So when I went there, of course, Balls Mahoney's like, "Well, you can have my room. I'm not even going to be in it. You know, I'm going to be all over the place and stuff like that." And I'm like, "You sure?" Yeah, sure. I'm not even going to sleep in it. I got early. I'm leaving tomorrow, going back home to Asbury. It's good. Yeah, go ahead. I'll be partying all night. Like, okay. So I go up. We party a little bit. I go up there, go to bed. In the middle of the night, this motherfucker comes in the room. I didn't hear him come in the room, but the lights were on, and that's what woke me up. And I woke up. The son of a bitch was standing in the corner of the room where the window and the air conditioner was, pissing in the corner. Just pissing.
Pissing what? Out the window or in the room?
No, just pissing in the corner of the room.
On the floor? As far
Yes,
as
on the wall, down the fucking in the corner, just pissing, drunk off of his ass.
Wow.
And I was like, "What do you? I thought you wasn't gonna come."
Now you're pissing in here.
I just, I'm just gonna get me like an hour power nap, and then I'll be. But he was just drunk off of his ass, and of course he never woke back up. I was already up and showered and out the door. This fucker was still laying on the floor. He wasn't even in the bed. He lay beside the bed in the floor. Yeah. He was nuts.
Yeah.
Oh man!
I'll tell you another funny story about him. Back whenever he was with Smoky Mountain Wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got called up to WWE as Santa Claus, right?
Yeah.
So he left, and I got his room at the house there in Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
So his little bed, he had like a little twin bed and shit like that. So we were clearing out the room, this nasty fucking room, bro. When you entered it, it smelled like fucking foot, like feet. This nasty fucking smell because he didn't clean shit. So we started moving his mattresses out. We pulled like the top mattress off to get it out to the dumpster. And there was like 3 half-eaten sandwiches up under his fucking, in between his mattress and box spring. With like one of them was peanut butter and jelly, and it got the jelly spread all over the fucking. Yeah, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? This motherfucker eat a sandwich and then just tuck it up under his fucking mattress." I mean, who the fuck did that? It's crazy. Oh yeah.
Later.
God bless boss.
Yeah, man. He was a good dude. He was just strange, man.
Right. Now I remember you left like for a while, so you weren't there, but then you came back.
I broke my leg, remember?
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. I came home from an ECW weekend, and it was an early weekend, so I got home on a Sunday, and a guy called that was local and needed somebody to fill in. And he was like, "Man, I'll take care of you. Okay, come on, man, please." So I drove about an hour from Johnson City, did the show, wrestled him that night, did a cross body off the top rope to the floor, and this motherfucker fucking just completely got out of the fucking way because he did this little number, like that. Yeah. And we were wrestling in an agricultural building, and the next day they were getting ready for bull riding. So they had like fresh dirt laid in this place, like 6-7 inches of dirt.
I thought you were going to say you were still laying on the floor.
No. So I dove out of the ring and I went to catch myself, because the guy basically moved out of the way. And I wasn't thinking about how soft the dirt was. Mm-hmm. I was thinking, there's the top of the dirt. I'll be okay. So whenever my foot hit the top of the dirt, my foot just kept sinking on into the dirt, and it went like this to my foot, and it broke my leg. Oh. That's why I took 2 years. Well, it was about a year and a half before I came back. That was late 96, and then I came back in 98 there in South Carolina.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, you called me. Well, it was like, "Hey, we're going to be in South Carolina. That's not far from you." Like, no, it's like, "You should come." So I come, and Paul was like, "You got your gear?" And I was like, "Yeah." Put me back to work. Yeah.
How much time did you spend off?
I was only actually off from wrestling about 8 weeks because I took the cast off and I found an air cast. Oh, Buddy Landell hooked me up with an air cast.
Really?
Yes. That thing was amazing.
Where was the break?
It was just above my ankle, about 4 inches above my ankle, but I tore my knee too.
Your tibia?
Huh?
Your tibia?
Yeah, broke the tibia and fibia. Yeah, broke them both.
Shit. You broke them both.
Yeah, the tibia came out the side of the leg. It came out. Yeah, it was sticking out like that. And
Compound fracture.
yeah, I didn't know I broke my leg. I heard a snap, but I didn't feel anything. So I thought I hurt him because I did land. I thought he got hurt.
Isn't that a crazy story?
Yeah, so I jumped up really quick.
I'm sorry.
No, really, I did. I jumped up and was like, "Are you okay?"
Wow.
And he's looking at me all crazy, like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I went to take a step to pick him up, and when I did, I fell down.
Yeah,
I just fell, and I looked down, and my foot was behind me. Yeah, it was pointed. It was behind my knee.
You're going the wrong way, pal.
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
And I looked, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I just like, okay. So I just laid down. I was like, I guess I'm done. Fuck.
Yeah.
This is it.
Did you hit the floor?
No, everybody just surrounded me and stuff, and
Probably got counted out, I guess. Lost.
I don't even know. They didn't even. The match was done. Nothing happened. The referee, it was my foot was pointing backwards, and the referee standing there holding his head like this, and the guy that I was working was like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!"
You had to get away, didn't you? You didn't have to get any hardware.
Yeah, I got a metal rod and pins and screws, all that shit.
And you only had like 8 weeks off.
Yeah, I took 8 weeks off. I actually cut the cast off myself with a sheetrock saw, and then
Probably like 8 weeks early.
No, it was like 13 or 14 weeks early. It was
Shit.
So I even pulled the staples out of my knee myself.
Wow.
Yeah, with a pair of pliers. Yeah.
Damn.
Welded it. You welded it together.
No, I did. I pulled it out. But Buddy Landell, he found an air cast for me somewhere, and man, that thing was amazing, bro. I put that thing on, tightened it up, and pumped it up. I could walk. I could almost run, but I couldn't run, but I could almost run. So I called Ricky up, and me and Ricky went back to tag teaming. So he would do the match basically, and then I would come in and do a couple of things, and then we would do the double drop kick at the end, but I would do a one-legged drop kick, you know. And then we did that till you called me, and then that's when I went back. Wow. Remember when I broke my jaw?
Kinda.
Down in Atlanta, I broke my jaw. The Dups did that splash off the top ropes, and his knees got me in the face, and it broke my jaw.
Yeah, I feel like when I was over at your house, that was during this time maybe, and you were like, eating through a straw.
Yeah. Yeah, I was doing that, but I had they wired my mouth shut.
Yeah.
After about 3 weeks, I was losing some major fucking weight. I wasn't a big guy to begin with, so that weight was like big deal to me. Yeah. I spent 3.5 hours standing in the mirror, clipping, pulling, twisting that rig out of my mouth for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it took forever. And the thing about it is like the way they put them in, they wire each individual tooth.
Wow.
Up in your root. So it's up in your gums.
Yeah.
So when they get it in there, they twist it in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when I clipped it, I didn't know that there was a knot in the back.
Yeah.
So I'm like doing this shit with the pliers, and it was hung, and I'm like, motherfucker, what the hell? So I just pop it, and it came on through. So I did every single fucking tooth that way from top to bottom, because that's how they wire your jaw shut.
Yeah.
And I had puncture holes all through my mouth on the top and the bottom. I just take me a big swig of peroxide, and I just spit it out, and then I would just do it again, just keep moving. Finally got it all out. And I went
so sabu.
Yeah, I walked down the street, and there was a little restaurant down the end of the street, a little soul food place.
Yeah.
And they sold beef macaroni. And that was the only thing I could eat, because I couldn't get my jaw to really open up very much. But I needed food, and I needed something soft. So I got the noodles and the real soft beef. I ate a fucking big old fucking container of that shit. I just sat there eating and eating and eating until I actually was spitting it up. I was burping and spitting it up. Yeah.
Holy shit.
And then at nighttime, I would have to take a bandana and like wrap it around my head and then tie it so my jaw wouldn't move in the middle of the night. Yeah.
Was it hurting?
It was sore as shit for months, really. But then I showed back up at work at ECW, and I wasn't supposed to work. They were flying me in anyway. So I showed up, and I'm like, I'm ready to go. And Paul was like, what do you mean you're ready to go? He's like, I thought your jaw was wired shut. And I was like, yeah, they took it out. He goes, who took it out? And I was like, he said, the doctor took it out? I was like, yeah, doctor took it out. He said, that's it. I was good. I'm healing quick. He was like, yeah, well, you're going to sign a release.
Here, let's get that to paper.
I'll put you to work, but you're going to sign a release. Even though I know your jaw is really supposed to be fucking wired shut right now, I'm still going to put you to work. Yeah. But we did it, and it worked.
Were you taking some pain pills before the matches back then, or?
Well, after that happened, I got it done. Remember we did a pay-per-view in Birmingham, Alabama, after the Atlanta show.
Mm-hmm.
I spent all night going to hospitals and stuff like that. Couldn't get nobody to do anything, so I found a card and I called a doctor up in Marietta. And I went back to the hotel room. He called me about 5 a.m. I drove up there, got my jaw wired shut, left there, went back down to the hotel, met Jerry Lynn. We drove up to Cornelia, Georgia for Wildside, did a 6-man tag there with him with my jaw wired shut, then went back to Atlanta, spent the night, and then I got back up the next morning, drove to Birmingham, Alabama, and did the pay-per-view.
Wow.
With my jaw wired shut, yeah.
That's
Paul wasn't going to let me on the pay-per-view, but that was my first pay-per-view. And I told him, I was like, if you don't put me on, I quit.
wow.
And he was like, what? I was like, if you know, I'm here, man. I'm fucking here, dude. Jaw wired shut or not, I'm here. I'm ready to go.
Put me on.
Well, I told him, I was like, dude, I know how to work. I can fucking work without hurting myself. I was like, so let's do this. And he was like, no, can't do it. So all day he kept telling me no. But then Tommy Dreamer walked up to me later on. He's like, you mind signing a release? I was like, yeah, I'll sign a release. So I signed a release and they put me in.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'd be really afraid of blowing up too, besides having the soreness of the jaw.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
Oh, you blow up quick because you can't you can't breathe right.
Right.
Yeah.
You blow up quick. But if you watch the video of that pay-per-view, I did that reverse helo off the springboard to the floor. And the doctor kept telling me, he's like, he says, I'm not going to tell you not to go wrestle because that's probably what you're going to do anyway. He says, but if you ever think that your jaw is broken, re-broken, or if it's out or anything like that, just check right here and you'll be able to tell. And I'm like, okay. So he showed me. So on the pay-per-view, I did the big fucking springboard, did the twist, did the big fucking dive to the floor, and guess what? They missed me. Motherfuckers, I had 5 guys out there. Motherfucker, all 5 of them stuck their hands out like this to catch me. And of course, I went through their hands and I hit the concrete floor. And on the video, the guy's cameraman, I'm like laying on the floor. I take that hit and it stung really bad because it's the concrete.
Yeah.
I came up like this and I instantly start checking my jaw to see if that impact, fucked it up or anything. I'm like, is it good? Is it good? Is it good? Fuck. Okay, I'm good. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was before they were flying me too. So after that pay-per-view, we were going home.
Yeah.
So I had to drive all the way back from Birmingham, Alabama to Johnson City, Tennessee.
Good golly. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Crazy stories.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, he didn't fly me when I went back. He didn't fly me in for like the first year. So I had to drive all the way from Tennessee to Maine, Tennessee to fucking Philly, Tennessee to Ohio, Tennessee to Massachusetts. Oh, yeah. It was taking me like 2 days to get to the show. So I would have to leave 2 days ahead to get to the show on that day.
like Mike Anthony Lzanski, Mike Lzanski.
Yeah.
He was driving around from. He wasn't even booked, but he was just driving. Did you guys ride? You didn't ride with him. He had his whole life with him in the car. His dog, his girlfriend, everything he owned, like a gypsy, and he wouldn't even be booked, and he'd just be like, "Where you at next week?" And we'd be like, "Fort Lauderdale." And I I'll see you there. That was just. He'd go and just hoping to get booked, and I got Paul to book him couple times, and then like boom, I was in the match with him, and he pulled his hamstring. On my idea, actually, we're on the floor, and he had me in a headlock, and I just wanted him to do a run and jump over the guardrail and slam my head into the guardrail. Who wouldn't want that, but anyway, boom, he blew his hamstring, and then he was done. And then somehow he ended up like living in my place in Orlando for for several weeks. And I was that was during the Soma days, and he kept me somewhat up. I mean, I can't blame him, but he was always offering, and because of that, I was like half passed out, if not all the way passed out, and somehow I would make it to the airport and go do my matches and come back. But my evil ex has so many pictures of me passed out on the floor, a lot of times with food everywhere, and then there's him and his girl and his dog, and he moved his brother in there too for a while. And this was a 1-bedroom, what do you call it? Loft, a 1-bedroom loft apartment. And man, somehow I stayed somewhat up like so much. But I also felt, I mean, he was my friend, but I also, because Phil, Danny Crawford in Japan, like, he made us, like, he put us together like a blind date. He kept saying, "Oh, wait till you meet my, what would he call him? His cousin or brother, whatever you call him. You're going to love him. He's just like you. He does all that high flying and stuff. You're going to love him." And anyway, we ended up tagging once or twice, and it was almost like he was pushing for us. Mike was cool. I liked him. I felt really obligated and bad because of his injury. And he didn't. I don't think he ever had a match there again. He was going to rehab, or he would say he would go to rehab. Sometimes he would leave. Sometimes he would leave in the morning, and then like my evil ex. Fortunately, she seemed to not mind and get along fine with his girlfriend or whatever. But sometimes he would leave in the morning and come back like 8 at night or something and say that he was at therapy. He'd be a little bit drunk, have some stories from the strip club or whatever. And it's like, dude, like, what am I doing letting this guy, stay here doing all that? And anyway, eventually he moved on. Didn't hear about him doing too much until boom, he got in a car accident.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh man!
And then we saw
he came into the show one time, and he was like all, I guess from the wreck, he was all scabbed up.
It didn't look like him. I can't remember if it was plastic surgery or if it was burn marks or
it was like scabs, like road rash type scabs, and just. Oh, yeah.
And of course, he said it wasn't Soma's, he just fell asleep because he was tired or something, which, is wrestler talk for it was definitely Soma's.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, what was it, another wreck? I can't remember.
Oh, I didn't know.
He died like shortly after that.
He was on a motorcycle and got killed, didn't he?
Oh, man.
You know what it was?
Yeah, the last one was a motorcycle wreck that killed him.
Oh,
he was on the bike driving it, or
that's what I would think. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah,
oh, man.
Let me look it up because I can't remember right now. Sorry, Mike, but I forgot.
Jeez. Well, yeah, no, that's man.
It says here Lzanski died December 19th, one day after my birthday. 2003 from a heart attack in his sleep.
Oh,
At
okay.
his home in Calgary. He was 35 years old.
Oh, a heart attack.
Yeah.
33 years old, having a heart attack?
And then this other article says a heart condition or fluid to the lungs.
Oh, wow.
You know, without clicking on it, that's just quickly what I see in the paragraph. Yeah. Oh, and then there's looking up him, and then fucking showing a picture of me. Probably the night that we're out on the floor, and we're probably just about to fucking pull his hamstring. Actually.
Oh, geez. Oh, so that's the match.
Yep. And then I think after being hurt, I think he kind of turned to the pain pills and stuff. So you could say I was kind of connected to that whole pathway that he went down.
Oh,
if you wanted to, you can say.
People make their own decisions, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this one says December 18th. This article. At the age of 35, a heart condition or fluid to the lungs was initially the culprit of his death. A heart attack is listed as the cause of death.
Oh,
Well,
man.
if you don't, I don't know if you don't know who we're talking about. It's this guy.
Yeah, let me pull up. I'll get you up there. Yeah, there he is. Oh, man. Yeah, only 35. That's crazy.
Wrestled in Mexico, the Canadian Tiger, El Tigre Canadiense, and same thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. R.I.P. to Mike. Yeah, I remember you talking about him on earlier shows, too, that we did.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You mentioned him a couple of times, I think. Yeah, Canadian Tiger and stuff. We got a couple super chats, and we'll close on out here. Duccaneer, thanks for the $10. He says, Cash, I discovered you in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 video game as a young lad and was so shocked that it was possible for you to hit the dead level on everybody except Khali. Were you and Noble supposed to win the WWE Tag Team titles? Were you and Jamie Noble supposed to win Tag Team? Were you?
Yeah, we were actually going to win them at No Way Out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, how about that?
Mm-hmm.
I liked your WWE run. I thought it was pretty cool, too. I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
we were actually going to win. We were building up for it and everything. And then we had a problem with the name.
Mm-hmm.
The name became an issue. And I think there was going to be a lawsuit on it. So they, instead of just changing our name, they just kind of broke us up.
Oh, really? What was the name supposed to be?
What was the Pitbulls?
Okay.
Yeah, but they were kind of calling us the WWE Pitbulls, but I think Gary Wolf was the owner of the name.
Yeah,
and so he was like sending letters of cease and desist and all that stuff.
Oh, and they just split you up.
Broke us up, and then I actually got released right after that because we were in Toronto. And I think it was a pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were in the parking garage. Rob's buddy from Canada used to come to the shows and hook us up.
Harry D. Shout out to Harry D. Referee.
Yeah. So we were out smoking in the parking lot, in the parking garage. Hell, there was a bunch of guys. Booker T. There was a couple of guys hanging out there, hitting it and everything. So when I left, going back inside the building to the dressing room, I passed the Brooklyn Brawler.
Yeah.
And Brooklyn, he smelled it on me. So he was like, "Hey, bro, hook me up, brother. Hook me up. And I'm like, I don't have any. I was like, just walk that way and go around the corner and you'll see everybody in the corner back there, and stuff. It wasn't mine. I was, fuck. I'm in Canada. I couldn't bring it with me. So, so I left. And we did the show that night, did the taping for SmackDown the next night, and went home. And as I was putting my key in the door, I was walking in, and John Laurinaitis called me and told me that I was being released for smoking weed in Canada because that was one of our biggest markets, and they were going to start putting the marijuana on the drug test as a suspension instead of paying the fine, because we were all paying the fine up
Mhm.
until that point. And so basically, he just kind of told me I was being made an example of, and I'm a cruiserweight, so my worth there is not as much as somebody else's. That would be a heavyweight, and so that was the decision. But he was cool. I mean, he hooked me up. He gave me got me some Japan bookings and things like that. And they gave me a really nice severance pay. They didn't even have to give me the severance pay, but he gave me a severance pay. Yeah, I was kind of surprised. He said it was, John. You remember John, right? John was like the dick of the place. Nobody liked him, but in that situation, he actually, was like, look, I don't. He says, I'm against it. It's not my decision. This is Vince's decision. He goes, to me, it's only weed, but this is what he wants.
But why do you think the decision was made? Like, if why?
Yeah, I was told because we were in Canada, that was their biggest market. And
But I remember though that, like you said, we were all right around the corner. We were all smoking. There was a bunch of us, and all you did was smell like it when you walked by somebody, which certainly isn't illegal. Wasn't even then. But why? Like, I mean, I would think I could see if you were going to say, well, we'll make an example of him to scare the others, but they weren't scaring the rest of us. You know what I mean? Like, I was going to keep smoking anyway, and everybody knew that. So why do it? Why?
Well, guys like you could keep on doing it, though. I mean, guys like you could keep on doing that. But like after I left, like Spanky and London, they were getting suspended at that point. They were going ahead and suspending them, and I think they let go of Spanky eventually because he wouldn't quit at all. He just kept smoking, and whether he got suspended or not, he would still fail the drug test. So they finally just let him go because of it, And then later on, they let go of Paul too because of it. But I was just the first one. Then he said I put the company in jeopardy, from being in Canada, because Canada's really hard on it.
They are not hard on weed. Canada's way the fuck above, way light years ahead of America on weed.
Well, I think with the law though, isn't it?
Fuck no, unless you're bringing it across the border. Are you trying to fucking transport no, fuck no. They're way ahead of us. It's a matter of fact, first place I ever was able to smoke like in front of people and not hide, but actually be out in public was in Vancouver. Wow. And everybody knows that about Canada. Toronto, they legalized it before we did. So he's feeding you bullshit. And I don't know why fire you. And for all these years now, no one's corrected you on that. Anytime you tell the story, people are like, yeah, Canada loves weed.
Well, I've never had a problem not getting it anytime I went there. I mean, yeah, I just knew that coming through the border, if you had any drugs, period, on you, then you were going to jail up there.
They don't want you to, One time I got busted at the airport. This was actually my first bust, coming into Vancouver, and I had like a baggie I didn't know that was in my bag, and they found it, and this was my first time being busted. I'm in WWE, it busted at this level. You know what I mean? Like I've been probably pulled over and shit like that, probably, but I don't know. Anyway, I was, really put on the spot in a private room, had to strip, had to lift up my scrotum sack and show them under my balls. I was like so humiliated and ashamed of myself.
Wow.
Why? Just because I was so young. I mean, this was like probably 2002-ish. So I'm probably like 31 and ish, somewhere around there. And I was just very immature anyway. Like I grew up, I always say I became an adult in my 40s, but I felt humiliated because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get just the whole thing, especially having to lift my balls up in front of a room full of people. But anyway, I remember they were like, we don't care that you smoke it here. Just don't bring it across the border or get it here.
You get it here.
Yeah. And I was, and I'll always remember that. But they
Yeah,
were like, do you have anything else on you? If you're honest and you tell us, then we'll just let you go. If you lie and say there's nothing, and then we find it, then you're gonna have to wait till our sheriff gets here and whatever the equivalent was of a sheriff or captain, and you're gonna and then it's up to him if he wants to press charges. You'll probably be kicked out and have to go back home and not get into Canada. And so if I had anything, I told them. Oh no, that's what it was. They found a baggie, and then when they gave me that speech, and they said we're gonna find it anyway. We got a dog right here, and they said we put the baggie on, and the baggie went straight up. It definitely tested positive because there was crumbs in there, and I'm like, fuck, all right, there's some in my underwear. That's what it was. Yeah, so I had to oh, good. Because there's one thing at a time, lift your foot, show us the bottom of it. Lift your other foot, show us the bottom. I didn't have to bend over and spread my cheeks, but I had to take my clothes off, step by step while I was, like target practice and while they're lined up to not to shoot me, but it felt like it, there's like people looking at me, telling me, now turn around, and okay, now, drop your underwear. Oh my God. If I can, lift your balls up. I can't remember how they worded it, but anyway,
Wow.
It was all to share because Canada's always been cool with weed. They've been way ahead of us.
Well, right after that, I actually got check this out. Like a couple of days, might have been a week later. Fucking Brawler calls me. I've never had that man's number. I never even really talked to him. You know what I'm saying? While the whole time I was there, and especially never exchanged numbers with him. So somehow or another, he got my number, and he called me, and he was like, "Yo, kid," and this is how, because I hadn't talked to anybody about it at that point. You know what I'm saying? It only been a couple of days, and I was just, like, fuck. I guess I better start fucking calling around so I can get me a job somewhere, Yeah, so he calls me up and he's like, "Hey, kid, this is Brawler. How you doing, kid?" I was like, "Good. How you doing?" He goes, "Listen, man." He goes, I didn't knock you out, bro. I didn't. I swear to God, I didn't knock you out, man." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Well, you got fired." And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "It wasn't me, bro. I swear to God, it wasn't me." And I'm like, "Okay, well." And then later on, I talked to John Laurinaitis again, because they came to Nashville, and actually they called, and it was like, "You come down and hang out." So I come down and I was hanging out, and the craziest shit, John Laurinaitis I was hanging out in the back, and he says, "Come here." So I walked over to him. I wasn't even looking for a job. I was just coming to hang out.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting on the table with him and everything. And he says, "Tell me why I should hire you back." And I looked up at him and I was like, I didn't know I was coming for a job interview. He goes, "See, kid, that's what I'm talking about." He goes, "That's bad. That's just bad business." He goes, "That's what you do." He goes, "It's just like you're your own worst enemy. It's like I had to let you go for smoking weed in, of all places, Canada, our biggest market." And I was like, "I don't know, man." I was like, "You did what you had to do. It's all good." I was like, "I don't have any heat with you about it. I'm good." I was like, I can get work, bro. I mean, I've been working since I left. I mean, so it's okay. It's not a big deal. And he goes, then he's the one that told me about the Brawler, telling him. He said, Brawler walked in. Yeah.
Fuck. Frozen. Is he frozen, or can you hear him?
I think he's frozen. Oh no, the Sabu got him.
You guys both did this earlier and you didn't sell it. So I don't know if you guys didn't know, but you both went black.
Oh,
from my perspective, and they came back and you were talking like 15 seconds later.
Yeah, well, I know there was a little bit of lag. Nobody blacked out on my end, but Cash is
You're frozen, KID.
Yeah, frozen up. If you can come back in.
Yeah. So he told I was figuring, I'm trying to think, like, why fire Kid Kash when you're saying that pot's going to be suspension now instead of fines, and we'll prove it by firing Kid Kash when everyone's smoking. Maybe I'll call it back. And anyway, there's definitely more to it. He's gonna say probably the Brooklyn Brawler came in and said something about it in front of Vince and put Johnny on the spot, something like that.
Oh,
That's gonna be what I suspect the rest of the story will be if he's able to come back in.
Did he text you?
Hey baby. Oh
What's up, Katie?
Hey.
Hey.
yeah, it just says sorry, bro.
Oh, dang it.
My laptop died. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
no big deal.
No
Shoot.
worries, dude. Thanks for doing the show.
Heck yeah. Man, what a cliffhanger, though.
All right, that's what he's gonna say. He's gonna say, Steve came into Vince's office and he said, KID was reeking like weed. He was smoking right in front of the doorway in the arena. And Vince looked at me and, I have to do something. Now my job's at risk. If I don't do something, I take the heat for it. It's gonna be something like that.
Yeah, that sucks. Because it's like what you were saying. I never brought weed to Canada. I've only been in Canada when I was a kid, but I did kind of remember like Canada is really like okay with weed up there.
Yeah, they always have been. In fact, it must have been like 2001, probably my first year in WWE. I remember meeting one of the legends in the marijuana world up in Canada when I was there for the WWE, and it was Mark Emery. And if you ever want to Google Mr. Emery up, he's called himself the Prince of Pot. And he's made a lot of rounds. It's been a while, but he's been on a lot of the relative talk shows and documentaries and such because he made it his goal to try to overpopulate the world with marijuana seeds. Oh. And that was before it was cool to talk about that. It was illegal for the most part here in the United States. Still is federally, by the way. Right now, no one's changed anything. It's still a number one category 1 controlled substance. Anyway, Mark Emery was in Canada, the Prince of Pot, and he grew weed, and he would ship it to the United States. Oh. And he'd been doing it for years, and he was very well known. And the U.S. Wanted Canada to extradite him to the States so that they could lock him up for life. And Canada was refusing to do it. And that made him a very famous man. And in the meantime, he did not stop what he was doing. He was just fucking shipping seeds, as many as he could. Like I said, he wanted to overpopulate the world with marijuana so that the bullshit war on weed would have nowhere to go because you couldn't eradicate it if it was overpopulated. The program would be eradicated in his mind. So yeah, he was passing around the ball to us wrestlers, and I was like, wow, yeah, I saw you on 2020 or whatever, and he was just, he was like he's teaching us. I remember Paul London was there. I'm trying to remember who else. But Paul London was with me on this trip, but he was educating us as we're smoking, and he's saying, that he's the one that taught me, like when you do a bong hit, he said you breathe in like really deep, and that stretches your lungs out, and then the THC goes into your crevices of your alveoli and it scoops out the impurities, and so that it's actually cleansing. And then people that smoke from like a bong, for instance, you can do the same thing with a doobie, I guess theoretically, but the bong water filters it. And he was just saying that because in a normal day people don't breathe in or that hard and stretch their lungs out, and so there's like little wrinkles and stuff in the lungs that don't even open. And he was saying that thereby smoking the cannabis was a cleansing experience, and just boom. Wow,
how about that?
Yeah,
he's 67 years old, and yeah, you can follow him on Instagram. Go to Mark Scott Emery at Mark Scott Emery.
I'm gonna do that. I remember his wife was part of the gimmick too. I don't know why, but they were always seen together doing promotional things, being very outspoken in your face to the good old USA. Yeah, check it out. But he's free now, right? Is he free?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it looks like he's let's see when he last posted on Instagram if I can tell. I can't tell because I'm not logged in, but yeah, check it out. He's there. Yeah, apparently he does Cameo too. So you can do Cameo with him.
Yeah, he's probably a free man. And he was one of the, when it comes to marijuana advocates, he's not well known, because there's pop culture figures that have done a lot to use their limelight, like me, but then also on anybody's Mount Rushmore, they're gonna put Snoop Dogg, Willie Nelson, Cheech and Chong, Bob Marley, whoever. But when it comes to inside the actual world of cannabis, Mark Emery's up there, one of the top guys to be speaking about it and risking his freedom for the better good. So,
would you put him on your Mount Rushmore?
Of behind the scenes people that have
like pot advocates kind of thing. Yeah, nice.
Sure. There's other ones I'd have to look at. Like I know Richard Lee helped put that. Well, bless you. There's Richard Lee in California, but there's a lot of some of the names, like I don't advocate as much as I used to. So some of the names that were like really popular that were like in NORML, the National Organization to Reform Marijuana Laws, some of those names that were like on top that were whether they were philanthropists using their money and time or whatever it was that they were doing. Over the last several years, at least 10 years, I feel like I'm out of touch, like with because the war, or as I saw it, has changed so much. Like I used to, if you don't know, I actually, like when I'm doing Prop 19, I went to the college and like was talking to students, like giving a speech about,
really
why they should vote this through. And I used to attend a lot of fundraising events from the Marijuana Policy Project, some from NORML. That's where I met Matt Riddle, one of them. That particular event was a party at the Playboy Mansion, so that wasn't bad. But I used to feel like everybody was taught that marijuana is this incredibly harmful drug, categorized with the most harmful drugs that are even in a category.
Yeah.
Heroin and acid and anything that's no sense in society. So anyway, I felt like everybody is taught that, and they're not learning if it's not their thing, but they're smoking cigarettes, and cigarettes are killing them.
Oh yeah.
And they don't know that. Like they don't think it's that bad. They think that smoking marijuana is way worse than smoking a cigarette, and because of that, I felt like obligated to share information. And that's where I also learned how our government works. How when they have an agenda, there are no rules. They will go on disinformation campaigns and intentionally spread lies, which is no different than a cop saying, I smell marijuana, by the way, on another level. They're allowed to lie their asses off, and they always do. And then, anyway, to try to get probable cause. So I learned, though, that's the way that our government works, is lies. And so we're still overcoming people not knowing the difference between those lies they were taught that they released in the 30s and then tried to reinstate in 1970 with Richard Nixon. When they don't know, and why would they if it's not their thing? Like I said, but because I felt like, man, it was like somewhere under half, close to half of people thought marijuana should be legal back then. And I thought, you know what, this is something I was passionate about. Now, I feel like most people know, not everybody, but I feel like now most people know it's legal almost everywhere. There's very few states that don't have some kind of a cannabis program, and they're going to change. And allegedly, the federal government's going to even reposition it, reclassify it. And I do find that still interesting because it's something that I'm interested in, but I don't feel like the battle needs me to put as much energy into it as before. You know, I still do interviews for documentaries and whatever stuff like that, and spread the word. But I don't feel as committed to advocating, and because of that, I'm out of touch with some of the laws, a lot of the laws in different states. You know, if you start quizzing me on how much, you know, can you possess in this state or that, I you know, maybe asked me a long time ago. Right now, I don't know. It's like so much moving past me to where if I walk into a dispensary, some 21-year-old is going to come up and start asking me what I'm looking for and try and teach me, you know, about the effects that this one is going to have on me. And it's like, all right.
No,
but I don't know as much the specifics of the laws and where a lot of the people are at as far as the jurisdictional votes and also even some of the key players and people that are running the bigger programs that are keeping the movement going forward. I'm a little out of touch with all that.
Well, it kind of speaks, though, to kind of what you mean, too, is how more accepting it is now, because things seem to be shifting a lot quicker and moving a lot quicker in that whole realm of things. So that's kind of like a big positive step in a lot of ways. And to your point, I would think it's probably at least like 70%, 70-30 think it's like more acceptable nowadays. And maybe it's even more than that, I would think, too, even a little bit. So, yeah, pretty neat there, Rob. You definitely did your part, that's for sure.
Yeah, and maybe I'll come around again. I don't know. They do need to change it, you know, recategorize it, but at least they're not, you know, still killing people over it. At least, well, I shouldn't say that. I'm sure there's a bunch of stories that can lead to that result. Anyway, so when it comes to the Mount Rushmore, I'm going to hold off right now and say as far as like the behind the scenes, who is doing stuff right now? Who are, you know what I mean? Like, is it,
yeah.
You know, is it, you know, I remember at one time we thought that Obama was the man because he was talking about, you know, that he was going to quit arresting people for it and stuff. And then shortly after, they started raiding all the dispensaries in California. So, you know, so there's a lot to take into consideration when it comes to that. When it comes to celebrities just doing their thing and being loud and proud about it and changing society that way, that's awesome. Just like I was saying last week with babyface wrestlers swearing now.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Like, ooh, that's going to change people's perception of what the real world is. Just like whenever it's in a movie and someone's like driving down the road smoking a joint and it's not the plot, you know, it's just something that's casually happening. That's changing people's perspective of it too, more towards the world that I live in, you know, the real world. So it's always great that everyone do their part, but I do like the facts and statistics and following stuff. For instance, Mayor LaGuardia would probably be on my Mount Rushmore, probably. Maybe, but I don't know, because what did he do? He only did so much because then he was limited.
Mm-hmm.
But so they prohibited cannabis with the 1936 tax stamp law. Could have been 37, but I'm pretty sure it's 36. And then you had to have a stamp from the government in order to grow hemp. that says you're a hemp grower, but if you have it already before they give it to you, there's a loophole there, and thereby they prohibited it. But Mayor LaGuardia in the 40s says, "Hey, if you want me to prohibit this unknown drug, they didn't really know much about it in my city. Let me do some of my own testing, because this is some pretty bizarre shit you're claiming. The kids are getting addicted to it, and it's sweeping up their minds, and people in school, and they're becoming violent, and all this. That's a lot of shit. Let's do our own testing." And so Harry Anslinger, who would not be on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I remember you talking about him.
Yeah, he's the heel in the whole story.
Yeah, he's the heel. He's the heel.
Mob buster, drug buster, also bullshitter. In the whole government, the way it runs is that the ends justify the means. By the way, that's they think as long as they get there, as long as they arrest somebody, it doesn't matter if they lie to them, if they deceive them, whatever. If they break their own laws, as long as they get them in the end. That's the way our government works. So they want cannabis prohibited, so they're going to do it by lying to the people, arresting them, putting them in prison, all this. So anyway, the reason that Mayor LaGuardia gets up on the Mount Rushmore is because he did his own testing on it, refuted all their claims, and said, "Man, you trying to bullshit me, Harry. None of this shit is true. There's no evidence that it leads you to harder drugs, or that it's addictive, or that I don't even see that kids are using it in an alarming rate on a more consistent basis. None of this. It's like, what? No, we don't want to fucking prohibit it. That'd be inhumane. If anything, if they smoke too much, they'll go to sleep, man. You crazy, Harry.
Crazy.
Yeah, so what Harry did was buried not only Mayor LaGuardia's results, which you can look up. It's called the LaGuardia Commission Report. Not only did he bury that till recently, I mean forever, but also banned future testing on cannabis.
Wow.
And we're just overcoming that and learning. That's why we're hearing terms like CBD in the last couple of years. We didn't know shit about the plant because we weren't allowed to actually study it. It was illegal on every fucking level. So there was very little studying that was going on. Most of it wasn't in this country, or it was illegal. And Harvard of Medicine, the Institute of Medicine in Massachusetts had a lawsuit going for a long time. I think since 1990, but about wanting to test it, trying to be able to test it. And anyway, it's had a long path. I feel like I've been talking about it forever, especially since I say I'm not my passion isn't advocating that much anymore. but I just think that LaGuardia story, a lot of people would find interesting, but Harry Anslinger had all the power of the higher ups. He was the head of what would become the DEA. It was the FBN, Federal Bureau of Narcotics back then. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But he had the power to say, "Oh yeah, LaGuardia, no one's ever going to hear of your report. I hate you."
Wow. Dude, that's pretty progressive though, like for LaGuardia back then, all that stuff. That's pretty awesome, actually.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's kind of interesting that New York wasn't one of the very first states or cities to legalize, but it always goes back and forth, from the right to the left, and we're talking about going back 80 years. So
yeah,
who knows what path the leadership of New York has done. I'm sure some people know, but that's another conversation.
That is. Got to shout out Chris Cummins for the $2. Thanks for the super sticker. No question, but thank you. Maddie, he chimes in. He says, "What's worse?"
I was just saying. I was thinking. Should I read that one? Read that one.
What's worse than two girls running with scissors? Two girls scissoring rental runs. Oh my! Oh no, Maddie.
Saw that too.
Cash and RVD, weed money, literally. Any more titty stories? Oh, any more titty stories?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, like if his wife was in the room with him or whatever, but man, there was not any girl. I'd be like, dude, you know that mom, and she brings her daughter around. Yeah, well, yeah, I fucked him. What, dude? It don't even matter what I was. What, man? I don't even know what I was gonna say now, but them too. It seemed like that. Like
Wow.
everybody was game. Every desk girl at every hotel, maids, anything, man. It
Kid
was
Cash knew it. He knew
man. Yeah,
it.
that guy. Yeah, and I was jealous because I was with the evil ex and being faithful, But and so I was like, man, that sucks. He's getting all this play. I'm going home to someone that hates me.
You're like, Kid Cash, we mirror the same lives. We do all the martial arts, everything, and
Dude, everything. It's crazy. Yeah. That's why I remember like when I first went to his apartment, I was like, this is weird. Like he's like a stalker, like exactly
are you stalking me?
like I decorated or was decorated to be, like a tribute to my place. It was
He's
so
like,
weird.
I idolize
Yeah,
you.
same thing, but he's saying, that he was rocking with some martial arts, enjoying it, learning a lot, and then was at that pathway, where wrestling took over, and then it was like, all right, I'm going to do this, and it's pretty amazing how a lot of similar stuff. Oh, let me say this before I forget, though.
Yeah.
So it's been like maybe about a month or so. My Facebook page disappeared.
Really? It's gone?
Boom. Yeah. So if any of you fans are writing to my Facebook fan page, it's not me. It's if you're wondering why there's 19 followers, it's not the real one. The real one had me and Katie in the icon, 1.7 million followers, and probably about 4 weeks ago, because I've been pretty busy with the broken heels and stuff. So I haven't really had time to put much energy into it, but all of a sudden, boom, it's not there. And a few people, have told me like, dude, what I tagged you and your page isn't there. So I don't know if anybody knows somebody. My first thought was like, you know what? It saves a little time. It's kind of a pain in the ass, spending, checking messages on there. Mostly, I'm getting reports on Bobby.
Yeah.
He very well might have had the devil through one of his satanic ritual preaching that he does. Might have had some evil.
He did some voodoo shit.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so first I was like, I don't know if I care or not. But then I've asked like a few people that I deal with that are social media, like I mentioned to them, and then they're like, yeah, you're right, it's not there. But it seems like because of that many fans and shit, it would be nice to have it recovered. So if anybody has any idea, I don't know what to do. It's not, it's got its ups and its downs, but I know a lot of people do like Facebook. And so because that, if somebody wants to hit me up in the chat room or whatever and say, hey, yeah, my uncle works in Facebook at the fucking San Francisco.
The Mark Zuckerberg Arena.
Yeah. Hey, what do they call that? Oh, Simi Valley. I'm trying to think of Simi Valley.
Oh, Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, not Simi Valley. What's Simi Valley? That's around here. Anyway, yeah. So if anyone has noticed, mine, the real RVD had 1.7 million followers. So if you're following or talking to someone with 19 followers, it's not me. It's a fake. And in the meantime, I will be working, but probably slowly, not real hard, on trying to recover the page. But realistically, I'm either going to find somebody that knows how to do shit like that and he'll be working on it, or else not much will be done to it. So,
well, hopefully we can get it recovered. I'll try to look around and see if I know anybody that is attuned with that, or maybe they got their account kind of screwed up or something too.
KID says he enjoyed the show and thanks everybody. So
it was a blast. Kid, yeah.
Goodbye for him.
He's the man. He's the man. I liked it.
Yeah.
we'll close out with this super chat here. We had
He's always been like a little brother to me, but then he's actually like a year older than me.
yeah, he's like a he said he's 55, right?
Yeah, I heard him. I caught that too. So yeah. That's what I was like.
No, I thought he was younger than you too. I thought he was like 4 years younger than you or something.
Yeah.
How about
But
that?
always vibed, always enjoyed hanging out with him, you know, and always support the dude.
Absolutely. We'll have to get him back on here. I wanted to ask him too, because he's getting back into wrestling again, like he was saying. I was going to ask him about that a little bit too, but I'll have to save it for another time. Derek, this was for Kid Kash, I know. He said, thoughts on current wrestlers, who's your fave? So I'm sure that was for Kid Kash, because we talk about that a lot. And we know who your faves are and stuff, or people you like working with and stuff. And then Derek, he also meant we did it. Go back in the earlier in the show. We actually did talk about this.
I brought it up.
Yep.
I brought it up.
Rob
Look, y'all want to make fun of me and my
how dare y'all?
self for the karate chop on the back of the head that nobody saw before. All right, back into the left.
Back into the left.
Back. You don't get that, but some people do.
Yeah, there's a Bruder film.
Oh, you do get it. Is it that well known?
Yep.
Yes, it is. I didn't think you got it. I apologize.
Oh no, that's okay. I didn't get the Dutch part. I didn't get the Dutch.
Right. Well, yeah, I think more people probably would get back into the left than
probably.
Name's Dutch.
Dutch.
Girls' titties, help me out.
Help me get this, bro.
Grab one side, I'll grab the other.
How do I get this?
Fucking come out.
Bras are difficult though.
Oh, let's watch
Frankie
that.
Chorizo asks, who are some ECW guys you'd want to wrestle one-on-one on a Hell in a Cell? Both guys. This was for both of you.
Sabu,
Yes.
Roadkill. Sure, why not? And Scotty Riggs and Rhino and Steve Carino and Mustafa and
Balls.
Boom.
Boom. How about that?
There you go.
Nice. Cool. Well, that should do it. Let me make sure I got all the super
And the
chats.
W's. Oh, and who's like, but you know, whoever, even though he's gone, whoever just paid their hard-earned money to ask, maybe Kid, but I'll answer for him. Who's interesting to watch right now? There's a lot of the girls that all the girls look good. I mean, there's like, you know, like the standard for a girl. And looking good isn't just about being hot. If they have a really good look for a wrestler, you know what I mean? Right. Like that girl on LFG, you know, the like huge fucking legs.
I think her name's Bailey too, right? Or is that the one I'm thinking of?
Humphrey something?
Yes, yeah, Bailey Humphrey or something. Is that her name?
So, something like that. Anyway, you know, like she's a bit of an oddity, you know, and you could look at her, you know, and think about, you know, what she could do at the doctor if she was trying to get herself changed to look like other people or whatever. That's one way to look at it. Also look at the gifts that God gave her and think about like, bam, like for wrestling, like that looks fucking awesome.
Right.
Know?
Yeah.
I remember Sabu one time, we were watching a James Bond movie, and it wasn't the original Jaws. It was a different actor, but he had the huge jaw. And I believe he was playing the same heel character. I think he played Jaws after the real Jaws was dead or something. Anyway, the guy had a big jaw, and he was on like a weekly show. But anyway, Sabu, one time we were watching it, Sabu literally said he was jealous of that guy for having that jaw. And I was laughing because I was like, whoa, what? He's a freak. Wait, you're serious? He was like, fuck yeah, look at him. I think it looks awesome. He's like, it looks sweet. Because if I had that, I know I'd be able to make a lot of money with that. And he was dead serious, and that was the way he looked at it, was from the eyes of the business, you know. So So, but anyway, who's some of my favorites? So I get sidetracked. That's why we're going fucking 4 hours strong tonight. Who's some of Cena? Because it's interesting what he's doing, so got to keep our eyes on him and see what he's doing. Got to watch, Stephanie Vacor, we talked about her. She's
great.
Entertaining to watch. And there's Kaylani Jordan doing RVD moves.
Did you know she calls one of her moves one of a kind?
No.
Yeah. I think that's one of the name of her finisher. I think is called one of a kind. I think.
And what is the finish exactly? Do you know?
Let me take a look. I'm going to take a look right now. Finisher. Let's see. Kalani Jordan.
Also, Javon Evans. Definitely. Someone to watch. Wes, still, man, he's so good in the ring.
He's great. All those guys, those rascals and stuff, they're really good.
Yeah. And
what do you think of Braun Breaker?
He's awesome.
Yeah,
he's awesome. Yeah, I could see some more of him. I've only seen him do the spear maybe twice, and then what was actually really cool. Like when I met him when I was there last time at the event with his dad, and Godfather when we did in Ron Simmons when we did the latest Rob Van Damn. Yeah, that one. Damn. Yeah. Anyway. I met him there and it was cool. And the thing he did on Carlito was fucking awesome.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's gonna be great footage forever. Like the tiger jumping out of the weeds, attacking the guy on banned from TV video the day, which now you can watch anytime on YouTube. But anyway, dude, shit. We covered a lot, right?
We did. Okay, so if you had to guess what one of a kind is, what do you think that move is exactly, Rob?
I'm trying to think. I think she did. Well, let's see. I think she does a split leg moonsault, but so does Naomi. I think she does. I know she does that catch the kick, but that's not a finish. She's not going to do a frog splash. I think it's going to be split leg moonsault. Her version.
You nailed it. That's what it is.
And she maybe climbs to the top or to the second, and then does it.
Let's see. This moonsault. So I don't. Okay, so they just give me a list of moonsault variants. So I don't know exactly how she does.
Oh, okay. Whatever. But cool.
But
very cool.
How about that?
Definitely keep an eye on that, girl.
Absolutely. Keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
And guys, keep your eyes peeled for Only Wrestlers. Go to onlywrestlers.com. Sign up now. Get your account all set up. And check out all the wrestlers that are on there. There's so many.
Just joined only hours ago.
Who?
Moose.
Really? Moose joined?
Pretty stoked. Welcome aboard, Moose. Glad to have you.
Heck yeah,
we got over 300 wrestlers on
awesome.
Only Wrestlers. We're doing live wrestling shows. And fans that subscribe vote on and help us make decisions on our shows, on putting the card together, on running the show. And also, this is something really cool. You can watch us streaming live, but for the same ticket that you would pay $6.95, you could also instead subscribe to a wrestler, and then you get to watch the streaming for free and get to connect with the wrestler, which it's up to each wrestler how much they want to connect with their fans. And we're all growing. So the more, the more fans that we have, the more important it'll be, for each wrestler, things like that. But we're adding a couple of cool things that I thought would be done that I can talk about now. But I'll probably hopefully mention them next week because they're things that we can do on the platform that we couldn't previously do, but they've always been in the plans because we're growing and growing and growing. And that's the way the plans go, is we're always going to be adding stuff to it. And of course, adding followers and adding wrestlers, adding more companies that we're working with. they're doing a cool thing in Chicago where the local wrestlers in the group up there, their fans can vote for them to be on the card and have a match or not.
That poll is up right now too on onlywrestlers.com. You can
Oh.
vote for who the local feature match will be, and you can vote. There's a lot of different names on there, so check it out and voice your opinion on there. Sign on up.
Like we'll have all the wrestlers there,
Mhm.
and the voting will go through at least through the first half of the show. I'm not exactly sure where it stops, but that's part of the thing is when you're at the show, then you're part of it too, and it's all interactive. So because of that, the wrestlers will be there, so they'll be in a battle royal, but then the fans are actually going to decide out of all them who gets to have single matches and stuff. So pretty cool. We're always doing stuff like this. Check it out. See if it's for you. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. What we've added in the last few hours that I'm excited about is Moose. And hopefully he'll be using this and utilizing it to connect with his fans the way I do. I answer the messages there. I leave videos, and anyway, we have stores on there for the wrestlers. Daily stories. We can stories or stores, both.
Boom.
I'm sick of hearing myself talk, dude. Cut me off, rake my eyes.
Yeah.
Tag me something, please.
Yes. So guys, sign up onlywrestlers.com and get your account set up. But hey, also if you're watching,
and it's free. It's free to follow
Free.
RVD or Katie or Only Wrestlers. But if you follow for free, then you pay $6.95 to watch the live stream, which is coming up May 29th. No, the 23rd. No, the 29th in Chicago.
29th. Chicago's Chi-Town, baby. So sign up now. And if you're watching here, be sure to like, share, subscribe, rvdtv.com or RVD's YouTube channel. Sign up for both, and you get content every Monday. This show drops, a new episode drops, and then I clip it up on too. So be sure to check that out and support the podcast in that manner. Anything else? That should do it, I think, Rob.
By the way, I am sporting another Venice Beach Dub Club shirt.
Oh, is that hit? Oh, look at that! Hell yeah!
It says that on the back. That's how I know.
Oh, hell yeah!
No, I don't want to show too much there. Let's
yeah. Don't reveal too much.
Hey
now.
Anyway, yeah. Venice Beach Dub Club. Yeah, that's what it says. So I don't see Seth joining us now, but we know you're here in spirit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Maddie.
Thanks to everybody joining in here.
Thanks, Van Dam fam. See you next week.
See you next time here on One of a Kind with that guy. Oh, RVD. Boom. Hell yeah.